Part 32. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 315. Gu Huiyan was on the hot search list because of various things such as Stranded, Are You Still Afraid of Heavy Rain, a low-key appearance at the Orange Channel New Year's Eve party, Chasing Pei Jingzhu, etc., and he regained his former self. When the topic is discussed and popular, the news that his first solo concert will be held in Suzhou next month has also been exposed. Later, Gu Huiyan realized that Mother Zhang asked him to go to Qingtai to celebrate the new year. On the one hand, it was because of Pei Jingzhu, and on the other hand, it was also a warm-up for the concert and a front-row stand. Zun du fake du. After the news was exposed, countless netizens went crazy. No, I saw the news and went to grab tickets. You told me that all the tickets were sold out last month. What's the use of exposing yourself if you don't have a ticket? Who is grabbing the tickets for Lao Six's concert? Why is it so sneaky? Why don't I know anything? No, you guys scold others so harshly online, but then they turn around and secretly grab tickets, right? Many fans of the Gu Huiyan family have already broken their guard. It has exploded. Probably because there was no announcement at all, many people didn't know about the news that Gu Huiyan was going to hold a concert until now. This news came too suddenly. You must know that before this New Year's Eve performance, Gu Huiyan had been blacklisted by the entire internet. They couldn't have imagined that when he was scolded so harshly online, why would all the tickets for offline performances be snatched away? This made many fans unable to help but express their defenses. You guys are so disrespectful of your integrity. Are you scolding him to stop others from grabbing tickets and grab them yourself? You really hate that person. What happened this time? In fact, I really don't blame them. First of all, news related to concert tickets and ticket grabbing is not popular in itself. Generally, only people who pay special attention to ticketing platforms will know about it, and few platforms will operate related popularity. Secondly, Gu Huiyan was indeed too low-key this time, and everyone was really unexpected. Just say it. Who would have thought that Gu Huiyan could hold a concert when he was the most blackmailed by the entire internet? Many people who usually care about concerts don't pay much attention to it. There were divergent opinions about this matter for a while, and then, another incident was exposed on the internet, which directly catalyzed this matter. It is reported online that tickets for Gu Huiyan's concert went on sale for just 1 minute, and 30,000 tickets have already been sold out. For well-known singers, a stadium with a few thousand people can be considered a good size. For first-line singers, a concert with more than 10,000 people is a huge profit. For the vast majority of domestic singers, they have basically had no trouble selling concert tickets in the past 2 years. But you have to say, tens of thousands of tickets were sold out in less than a minute. That is enough to illustrate the spread and popularity of this singer's works, as well as his status in the hearts of his fans. In the past 6 months, Gu Huiyan has been almost overwhelmed by everyone. What everyone sees is the crazy rhythm of the marketing account, as if they want to crush him to death. But now, the fact is a slap in the face to all those who lead his rhythm. He, Gu Huiyan, will always be the most well-deserved king of the Chinese music scene, the singer with the most popular works, and the shining superstar. He just doesn't do anything, but whenever he wants, he can return to the top at any time. Those fans who silently supported Gu Huiyan when he was in decline and was blackmailed by the entire internet, and who sold out all the tickets for his concert within 1 minute, used their actual actions to explain to everyone what it means to be. After all the prosperity, you will know who your true fans are. During his peak period, many of the people who made fun of him were just trying to gain popularity, and it was impossible to tell whether they were true fans or just blackheads. Only when he is in his lowest period, when he is down and out, when all the glitz has been washed away, Can you know who is real? Like. Pink. Haha, I got the tickets. When the news of the concert was in full swing, some people who had grabbed tickets to Gu Huiyan's concert began to post videos to show off. Pretending. Chinese people love to show off. This is a habit that Chinese people cannot give up no matter what. Who doesn't know how popular Gu Huiyan's concert tickets are right now? Can those who have tickets not show off? Those who post group photos, those who have tickets delivered to their homes and posted on their WeChat moments, those who show affection to their boyfriends and say they want to go to Gu Huiyan's concert together. All kinds of showing off dynamics began to appear on major social platforms in a blowout style. There is a very popular saying recently, that is, "How do you know I have tickets to Gu Huiyan's concert?" No matter what they do or who they meet, many enthusiasts who have grabbed tickets will say this first thing. Slowly. Those who have grabbed the tickets are almost becoming superiors. A few days after the news spread, there were rumors on the internet that Gu Huiyan had invited Pei Jingshu to a concert and was going to announce their reunion in a high-profile manner at the concert. This news is like a nuclear bomb, igniting all related entries again. Gu Huiyan's first solo concert is enough to make people look forward to it, not to mention that he will announce the news of getting back together with Pei Jingshu at the concert. If this is the case, then this concert is so worth it. Ah! I'm so envious. Many fans are almost drooling, it's so sour. Recently, it has been reported on the internet that many people are paying high prices to buy scalper tickets, which have now reached almost 1 million. So scary. In fact, a discerning person can tell with just a quick glance. On the one hand, the relevant news is released by marketing accounts to gain attention and gain popularity, on the other hand, it is released by scalpers for the purpose of speculating on votes. And I don't know if those enthusiasts are too good at pretending. The vast majority of netizens and fans who can't get tickets and can't afford scalper tickets have their mentality exploded. Then they started to get mad at those who got the tickets. Some netizens checked Pei Jingshu's recent work arrangements and unexpectedly found out that she and Gu Huiyan were holding a concert in the same city on the same day. Then here comes the fun. The comment area is full of comments. Sister Pei is also holding a concert in the same city that day. It is impossible for her to go to Gu Huiyan's concert. Haha, you are all happy for nothing, right? My friend said that they haven't gotten back together yet. Pei Jingshu has no idea of getting back together at all. It's all Gu Huiyan's unilateral bundling and marketing. Haha, let's just say, look at how many of Gu Huiyan's works are related to Sister Pei. If Sister Pei can't sing those sweet songs and bitter songs, what's so good about her? You guys are still being abused. It is well known that Gu Huiyan can only write bitter love songs after the breakup. I'm afraid there will be toilet paper everywhere after the concert. Haha. It's funny, because of Stranded and Are You Still Afraid of Heavy Rain, some people say that after the breakup, Gu Huiyan can no longer write sweet songs, but can only write bitter love songs. Many people even went to Gu Huiyan's social media posts on various platforms and left messages to ridicule him, saying that he was no longer the troublemaking Gulalu before. He was becoming more and more greasy, moaning more, and was assimilated. A more vivid interpretation of what open high and go low means. This matter was originally just a joke, but those group of fans were so good at pretending that it aroused public outrage, and many people simply took it out to make a fuss. But then again, Gu Huiyan's recent work seemed to be on the path of bitterness, and many fans really miss the silly boy who used to laugh and sing. Fans were definitely dissatisfied with the criticism, and they kept saying that Xiao Heize would only feel sore if he exposed his chicken feet, but it seemed that there was no way to tell the difference between Pei Jingshu and Pei Jingshu not being able to go. In the end, they could only complain and post the news that the two of them were reunited. The marketing account and scalpers did not do a good job. Did you just use it for marketing without checking the work arrangements of MD Pei Jingshu? Fans were suppressed, and netizens who didn't get tickets took the commanding heights and began to add insult to injury, even Gu Huiyan said. What's very funny is that more and more people are saying, will Gu Huiyan really never be able to smile and sing again? Then. Just when there are more and more related discussions. Gu Huiyan has not updated his Weibo, Douyin, etc. for about half a year. Official accounts on several social platforms suddenly posted a news collectively. That's a song. A song called, Tenderness. After all, he is the most discussed topic recently. As soon as Gu Huiyan's Weibo was released, it quickly attracted countless fans and dear people to watch. In just 10 minutes or so, the number of clicks almost exceeded 1 million. Ijiao, brother, are you going to do it yourself? Many fans were happy and couldn't help but express. This is the first time I've seen such a celebrity. You must be an 8G surfer. Haha, he must have seen the news that he will only sing bitter love songs from now on. I didn't expect you to be quite arrogant. We're just saying that after being scolded for more than half a year, I haven't seen you post a post. Why do you do it for this little shit? 6. As expected of you. Sometimes, you say these celebrities go online, and when news about them comes out, they treat it coldly, pretending not to know. If you say they don't go online, they will respond to some messages faster than netizens. For example, Gu Huiyan, this old man, after half a year so many people scolded him, he didn't say a word. Then he turned around and said that he only knew how to write bitter love songs, so he came up with a song called Tenderness. Talent. It's worth mentioning that no matter what platform this kid posts, it's just the song Tenderness and doesn't even have a copywriter. It seems like I want to create a cold image for myself. What's funny is that everyone didn't feel cold, but rather arrogant. After saying a few words to him, he wrote a song, and it was all in the song without saying a word. Isn't this arrogant enough? Many fans of the eye-catching bag made them laugh. They wanted to say that others don't know that you care about Huiyan, don't we know? You kid, don't you know how embarrassing you have been in the past? You still want to create a cool persona? What the hell are you kidding? Apart from laughter. The song Tenderness also became a hot search due to Gu Huiyan's dynamic reply. Hashtag singing a bitter love song with a smile, Gu Huiyan responded to the recent hot discussion with the song Tenderness. Hashtag. Speaking of the song Tenderness, it is really comfortable. When you listen to the melody, you will have the feeling of walking under the blazing sunshine. In this song, Gu Huiyan's voice is like one of his previous personas, the neighbor next door. Big boy. When singing, there is no gorgeous singing skills and no show of timbre. It is just an ordinary singing with gentle rock and roll, which gives people a very relaxed feeling. And this feeling vividly slaps in the face those who say that he will only write bitter love songs in the future. But at the same time, there is a lyric in this song that deeply touches the hearts of every netizen who has ever said Payban takes care of CP. It's called Don't Bother, It's Mine, Gentle. When they first heard the title of the song, everyone thought that the gentleness that Gu Huiyan sang was his tenderness and the gentleness given to Pei Jingshu. Who knew that the so-called gentleness actually meant not disturbing? Therefore, there is the sentence of the hot search term. Sing a sad love song with a smile. Let me tell you something, this old six is really good at poking the hearts of fans and audiences. Many people are not too sad even when they listen to Stranded and Are You Still Afraid of Heavy Rain, but they are listening to his tenderness. The defense was broken. Just like the lyrics sung by Gu Huiyan in Content. Crying while laughing is the worst pain. In this song Tenderness, he seems to be interpreting what it means to cry with a smile. It takes people to heaven and then falls freely. The feeling is really fatal. He did break the rumor, but he is still so heartbreaking. It also makes people wonder, did he fail after chasing Pei Jingshu out that day? Recently, there have been many topics discussing whether Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu will get back together. Probably everyone is looking forward to their reunion, so when discussing the concert, many people subconsciously regard their reunion as inevitable. In addition, marketing accounts and scalpers also have related rhythms. But Gu Huiyan's tenderness seems to have broken the rumor. He sang "Don't Bother Me Is My Gentleness," and "How Can We Get Back Together?" Some people even said that he sang relief in this song. This made many fans feel confused, thinking, can they really not get back together? Of course, many people also praised Gu Huiyan's move. Logically speaking, before the concert, he could use the rumors of getting back together with Pei Jingshu to make the concert more exciting and tie it up for marketing. But he didn't do that. He clarified everything with lyrics, telling everyone that they were not getting back together, and he would never use Pei Jingshu to tie up marketing. At this point, even the only fans of Pei Jingshu's family can only give thumbs up. This kid is finally starting to act like a man. Although it is a pity, one thing I have to mention is that the popularity of the song Tenderness is really high. From the day it was released, this song quickly swept the entire internet. Because the official version was launched on major music platforms at the same time, the popularity of the song soared. It surpassed Stranded and Are You Afraid of Heavy Rain almost the next night. Successfully topped the new song charts on various platforms. Not only on the internet, because of its popular style and extremely high quality, this song almost swept the streets in the next week. People who go shopping can easily hear the melody of Tenderness in the streets and alleys. No one expected that a song written by Gu Huiyan would become such a hit. It was at this time that many people realized belatedly that if they removed the story related to Pei Jingshu and removed the special phrase "Don't Disturb Me Is My Gentleness," it turned out that the quality of the song was actually it's so high that it ranks among the top 3 among all Gu Huiyan's works. It was at this time that more and more people began to discover that they liked Gu Huiyan not just because of Pei Jingshu. After excluding everything related to Pei Jingshu, how could he, Gu Huiyan, not be called a king of heaven? What you need to know is that even some of Pei Jingshu's most popular masterpieces, Little Lucky and Meat, were written by Gu Huiyan. How could he, just him, need to tie up marketing with others to maintain the popularity of his concerts? Because of Tenderness, Gu Huiyan's reputation has recently seen another big reversal that is unbelievable. It's funny. Gu Huiyan's journey seems to have been accompanied by too many controversies. He was either scolded or on the way to being scolded. If a career had a curve like a stock, it would definitely be like heaven and earth, heaven and earth, heaven and earth. Someone has analyzed that the benefits he received from Gu Huiyan's relationship with Pei Jingshu were far less than the scolding he received. Yes, it is true that he received a lot of bonuses from Pei Ban taking care of CP in the beginning, but even without those, do you dare to say that with Gu Huiyan's talent, he will not be popular in the future? Even without those, it would only be a matter of time before he reaches where he is today. Okay. Same. Didn't Pei Jingshu get the bonus of Pei Ban taking care of CP? She fell in love with Gu Huiyan, and the songs Gu Huiyan wrote for her. Along the way, she had never received less benefits than Gu Huiyan. There are always too many people scolding Gu Huiyan, but no one has ever seen Gu Huiyan's efforts. All in all, recently, Gu Huiyan's word of mouth has basically been reversed. I successfully walked on a solid floor again. As long as the concert is over, his place will be completely cleansed. Under normal circumstances, it can't be smeared. Recently, a girl group draft was promoting a topic similar to turning back against the wind. What was very funny at the time was that there were a lot of comments. Gulalu, I am familiar with this matter. It caused a lot of laughter. In laughter. Amidst the discussion. Time passes. The days pass by. The countdown to Gu Huiyan's concert is slowly entering. Finally, it was like this a week before the concert. Crotch burning. It was also the week before Pei Jingshu's concert. Before the concert started, everyone was extremely busy, whether it was coordinating, arranging, or rehearsing with various departments on site, so neither Gu Huiyan nor Pei Jingshu had any time to think about trivial matters and basically devoted themselves to their work. And just when Gu Huiyan was busy in full swing, busy making a comeback, busy using this concert to make a complete comeback and come back, Gu Huiyan received a video call from Shang Zuoyan. When the video was connected, the first thing she said was, "Gu Huiyan, I have to leave." Tenderness is a foreshadowing, that's for sure. If you can guess it, I won't say it, haha. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 316. January of the Gregorian calendar. Suzhou. As we are about to enter the 12th lunar month of winter, it is extremely cold in Suzhou, which is located in the south. Some of the pedestrians on the street are wearing not very thick down jackets, and some are wearing mid-length windbreakers and sweaters. Most of them are because the new year is approaching. The topics people discuss have begun to be related to the Chinese New Year. But you want to talk about the taste of the new year? It seems like there really isn't much. Modern young people don't seem to pay as much attention to the Chinese New Year as they used to. Even the Spring Festival Gala is terrible. If they don't have delicious food and can take a holiday, who cares about the Chinese New Year? Look. The couple on the cruise ship were chatting, which had nothing to do with the Chinese New Year, but rather had something to do with Pei Jingshu's concert. "I'm definitely going to Gu Huiyan's concert. You can hear more from him and it's worth the ticket price," the boy said plausibly. "I don't care, if you don't go to Pei Jingshu's concert with me, we'll break up," the girl didn't shy away. "No, how big of a deal is it to break up? At worst, we can go our separate ways." "No. I told you that you." Recently, topics related to this are always emerging. Because Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu are in the same city and have concerts on the same day, many people will be confused about whose concert they should go to. This couple is enviable enough. They got the concert tickets of Pei Jingshu and Gu Huiyan at the same time. In a mutton restaurant by the river, Pei Jingshu, with short hair and a slim back, was sitting by the window, looking at them quietly through the brightly polished window. It is already late winter, the most difficult season for female celebrities. Pei Jingshu usually wears loose clothes to keep warm when she goes out in private. Pure white trousers and a black turtleneck will set off her figure. It is tight and slender, and the silver white fur coat and sweater complement each other, giving the whole person a very wealthy feeling. This year she probably cut off her long hair that she had had for more than 20 years. Pei Jingshu was always not used to it. Her neck would feel cold in winter, so she wore a scarf. Even though the air conditioning and heating were on in the room and she took off her fur coat, she still didn't take off her scarf. Gurgling. The pot in front of me was steaming, and the water finally boiled. When I opened the lid, I was greeted by the smell of mutton. Winter is a good season for eating mutton. Regardless of region, mutton is eaten all over the country at the end of the year. No sheep can leave our country alive in winter. The assistant went to buy Qingtuan. As a local, Pei Jingshu knew very well that there were no delicious Qingtuan this season. Besides, she was not interested in the things she had eaten since she was a child. She was just alone, sitting on the edge of the window of this small private room, quietly looking at the cruise ship outside. Like, waiting for someone. Suzhou is really cold in winter, wet and cold, mainly because there is no heating. People in the south in winter may not necessarily be as comfortable as in the north. Just like today, look at the icy mist rising on the small river. This made Pei Jingshu not dare to reach out and touch the window, because she knew very well that her hands would be iced. It is worth mentioning that it snowed today. Although it is located in the south, the annual temperature data is not low, but there is still snow in Suzhou and Zhou. There is a local saying that Qingming breaks the snow, and grain rain breaks the frost. This means that it may snow in Suzhou until April. And the snow in Suzhou is always unique. First snow. Pei Jingshu, who is busy with concert-related matters, has been a little tired recently, but her spirits are obviously better. After chatting with Gu Huiyan that night, even though the ending was not good, she seemed to be relieved and not eating as much as before. I can't sleep well. Dong dong. In the store, a familiar melody was playing. It was Gu Huiyan's new song called Tenderness. Familiar voices came to Pei Jingshu's ears. I don't know why I don't want it, my heart. You obviously want to get closer, but you are alone until dawn. I don't know why I don't want it, my heart. The beauty of love is always in loneliness. Give you my best love again. She really likes this song, but she doesn't like the line "Don't bother me is my gentleness." Pei Yat always says that she doesn't speak well of her integrity. She also knows that sometimes she is too proud, which leads to her desperate effort to save face. I also regret that she tore up the 2 tickets for Gu Huiyan's concert. She couldn't go, so she could give them to her friends. Gurgling. The pot in front of her was bubbling and steaming, but Pei Jingshu's eyes were a little confused. She didn't know what would happen to her and Gu Huiyan in the future. She admitted that she didn't blame him that much anymore, but she still couldn't really call him forgive. At the same time, she was really afraid that Gu Huiyan would give up on her or be snatched away by others. She has been so conflicted lately. To this day, more than half a year later, she still hasn't figured out why such a thing happened between them. Why on earth would Gu Huiyan betray him? And all this, she thought, would be answered today. Pei Jingshu has been very busy recently. The concert is about to start, and there is almost nothing that can spare her time. It has been more than a week since she arrived in Suzhou, and Pei Jingshu has not even returned home. But today, she took time out of her busy schedule to go to a roadside restaurant, which is enough to show the importance of this matter to her. And the way people treat her. Special. Miss, please. The waiter's voice came to her ears, interrupting Pei Jingshu's thoughts. Pei Jingshu removed the hand that had been holding her chin from the pretty face that was causing disaster to the country and the people, turned her head and looked outside the door curtain. Thanks. A familiar voice reached my ears, and after sending away the waiter, a beautiful figure pushed open the door curtain, and walked in with a bit of the chill outside and a bit of dust. The girl in front of her is tall and tall. She is wearing a long pink coat and a pure white scarf. You can see the white skirt at the hem of the coat. You can probably see the flesh-colored bare legs under the skirt. Mark of. The socks are long tube, and the lower legs are white socks and white high-top sneakers. The whole outfit gives people a first love feeling, which is strictly not suitable for the girl in front of her. Her permed, slightly curly long hair, which was not considered good quality, was spread casually, but it did add a bit of gentleness to her. It is worth mentioning that even though she is wrapped so thickly, her chest is always a bit protruding. This overwhelming wealth always makes many girls envious. Huh. She seems to be very cold. She has been rubbing her hands since she came in. The funny thing is that her hands have been huddled in the sleeves of her coat. What's the use of blowing? She always has a kind of beauty that is missing from the brain stem. A few moments. It seems to have slowed down. Haven't seen you for a long time. He took off his white mask and white beret, took off his pink jacket and hung it on the hanger next to him, while smiling at Pei Jingshu. Shang Zuoyan blinked her big, smart eyes and greeted her. Sit down. Pei Jingshu had a cold face and didn't give a good expression. Even though her upbringing from a good family had made her always subconsciously polite, she couldn't do anything about it and tried to pry her into the corner. Let her and Gu Huiyan become the chief culprits they are today, laugh. Subconsciously rubbing her hips and sitting down, Pei Jingshu raised her hand to signal. Okay. After rubbing her hands and sitting down, Shang Zuoyan took off her pink coat and only wore a pure white skirt. To be honest, it didn't match her personality. She always liked colors, but now her hair is all black, her skirt is all white, her coat is all pink. Pei Jingshu's watery eyes were staring at Shang Zuoyan from the beginning to the end. They were once friends and had participated in programs together. Shang Zuoyan had a very good personality and could be with the girls on any program. The guests become good sisters. Looking back at the early days of Crystal Love season, many people still remember her holding Pei Jingshu's arm and Xilan's arm, like a sloth or a good best friend. Pei Jingshu always thinks that if she were not a love rival, she would be willing to be a best friend with a girl like Shang Zuoyan. There is no girl in this world who doesn't want to be a best friend with such a girl. She is very comfortable getting along with her and there is no sense of distance. Why are you staring at me like that? After just a brief warm-up, Shang Zuoyan couldn't wait to pick up the mutton with chopsticks. She had caught a flight this morning and hadn't eaten yet, even though there wasn't much left of her foodie persona. But physical hungry cannot be linked to greedy. Very surprised. Pei Jingshu didn't move her chopsticks, she just sat across from her and stared at Shang Zuoyan. To be honest, she never thought that their long-lost meeting would turn out like this. Harmonious. So harmonious. Before she came, her sister even put forward the hypothesis that Shang Zuoyan and her might get into a fight and sniff out their hair, so she planned to follow her in person. Shang Zuoyan put down her chopsticks, stretched out her lilac tongue and licked her red lips, then took a sip of barley tea. Tasty. No. What kind of tea is this? It tastes really bad. Shang Zuoyan doesn't know much about tea, but it's not like she's never tasted good tea, let alone the hot drinks in stores in winter, but she really doesn't like the barley tea that many stores use in winter. Pei Jingshu did not answer her question about tea, but opened her red lips and said softly. You are in better shape than I imagined. Her tone is very cold. In fact, she should always be so cold. It is worth mentioning that her makeup today seems to add points to this coldness. She is full of makeup, exquisite and three-dimensional, and her facial features seem to be the coldest. Like an ice blade, it seems to be scraping off human bones. In comparison, Shang Zuoyan's makeup today seems a bit low-key, just a simple no-makeup, and she can obviously do a very coquettish makeup that is not inferior to Pei Jingshu in any way. Then what do you think I should do? Barley tea tastes bad, but it is a hot drink at least. It is not a treat for yourself, so Shang Zuoyan is not picky and warms up first. Should I lose my soul? Should I lose my soul? Or should I just die like the person who scolded me said? She could actually say such words in a very relaxed tone, which Pei Jingshu never expected. To be honest, she has been worse off than Gu Huiyan in the past 6 months. All her work has entered an indefinite period of stagnation. Most of the programs she participated in have had her clips deleted, and the compensation for terminating the contract is astronomical. These are secondary. The most important thing is that her reputation is bad. She may not be able to survive in this domestic entertainment industry in the future. To a certain extent, she has been blocked. Pei Jingshu thought that if she faced such a single-handed situation, she would definitely not be in the same state as Shang Zuoyan, so at this moment, she admired Shang Zuoyan a little. Same. Also a little distressed. She was indeed not in bad shape as she thought, but she could tell that she was pretending and trying to show off her strength. It is human nature to feel distressed, but it was a pity that Pei Jingshu quickly expelled it from her heart. Because she feels sorry for others, but no one cares for her. You invited me here today just to have a meal with me and catch up on old times, right? Pei Jingshu wrapped her hands around her chest. To be honest, the black sweater didn't match her. She would always suit white, like the purest jasmine flower. At this point, maybe she felt that she was not cruel enough, so she actually added another sentence, which was more like a reminder. We are not in a relationship where we can meet up for dinner in private. There was one thing she didn't say, that is, it would have been nice if they didn't start fighting when they met. A few days ago, her assistant received a message from Shang Zuoyan, saying that she wanted to meet her. Quite suddenly, Pei Jingshi's time was not easy to squeeze, but she still squeezed out half a day for her. Pei Jingshi couldn't help but I believe she called her here just to have a meal. Shang Zuoyan was not surprised when she heard this, or it could be said that she should not have been surprised. She continued to eat the mutton in her bowl. She didn't seem to have any taboos today and had a good appetite. Maybe it was because the food on the table was missing and not enough to eat. She actually picked up her phone again and scanned the QR code to order a few. Vegetable. Do you mind if I add a few more dishes? She said that at worst I would treat you, so I would just make it up to you. Pei Jingshu said nothing and just looked at her coldly. Hey, that's not it. He's just a man. Why did we end up in such an ugly situation because of a man? Shang Zuoyan pouted her little mouth, made a quirky look, looked like it doesn't matter, don't care, and said. Now, you have also seen how miserable I am now, how much I have paid, I will never be able to survive in the future, I have already received my retribution, how many people have vented their anger on your behalf, haven't you vented your anger enough? Not enough. Pei Jingshi's eyes began to become sharp. She frowned tightly. She resisted the urge to throw the hot soup in the bowl in front of her on the face of the woman in front of her. She gritted her silver teeth and said. If you called me here just to say this, then there is no need for us to continue eating this meal. Saying. She stood up, went to get her coat, and was about to leave. Don't say she is impolite, she is really qualified. If another girl saw the girl who was poaching her, even if she didn't turn against her and hit her, she would have yelled at her. And up to now, let alone scolding, she has never spoken loudly or harshly a few times. Do you dare to say that Pei Jingshu is rude and lacks quality? What a joke. Hey, no, no, no. Shang Zuoyan hurriedly stood up to persuade her to stay. She made a relaxed gesture and pulled Pei Jingshu to sit down. Although Pei Jingshu didn't want her to touch her and looked like she was dirty, she only looked at her slightly. After being in a daze for a moment, he gritted his silver teeth and endured it. Explain. After Pei Jingshu sat down, Shang Zuoyan stopped talking and went straight to the point, saying. Don't you want to know what's going on between me and Gu Huiyan? Let me explain to you. Shang Zuoyan is really blind if she doesn't become an actress. When she said these words, there was nothing heavy on her delicate, doll-like face, as if these things were too important to her. Generally insignificant. If Gu Huiyan were here, he would probably wonder if her body had been taken away, or if her soul had been reincarnated in another world. It is undeniable that Pei Jingshu's delicate body trembled when she heard these words. But she was still strong after all. She just pursed her lips slightly and stared straight at Shang Zuoyan, saying nothing, as if waiting for her to say something. To be honest, Shang Zuoyan didn't like Pei Jingshu's posture very much, and she even hated it. It was like a teacher examining a student who had done something wrong. The feeling of being in a superior position was very unpleasant. But she didn't pick out the thorn in the end. She just made a lightly face and said. Don't look at me with that look. In fact, I didn't expect to reach this point. I was really just playing for fun. When she heard the words play, Pei Jingshu was stunned for a moment, and then a lot of things appeared on her delicate and pretty face. Incredible expression. Although she didn't have much friendship and didn't know her well, she still had reason to doubt whether the Shang Zuoyan in front of her was still the same person she knew. How could she say such words? And what she said next almost shattered everything Pei Jingshu knew about her, and everything she thought she knew, into powder. She said that between her and Gu Huiyan, She had always been pestering Gu Huiyan, whether it was the Strawberry Prince during the concert, whether it was setting off fireworks together in the city where his home was during the Chinese New Year, or whether they were playing games together without telling Pei Jingshu. It was all Gu Huiyan who she took the initiative to get involved with. Gu Huiyan always rejected her, always saying that he had a girlfriend and asked her to respect herself. She never gave up and kept pestering Gu Huiyan for a long time. Then the iron pestle was ground into a needle and slowly turned him melted. In her words, she portrayed herself as a shameless woman who likes to pester boys who have girlfriends. But both inside and outside her words, she revealed a kind of don't care, as if pestering Gu Huiyan was interesting and fun to her, but it didn't matter. Did you ask her if she wanted to do this? Not. How can any woman be willing to portray herself as a third party? Especially a girl as proud as Shang Zuoyan. The reason why she did this was just because she didn't want to be in front of Pei Jingshu. Just bow your head. Anyone who dares to talk about water in this chapter will have their tongues pulled out by labor and management. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 317. Chapter 312. Whatever she did, she will return it. It's a small restaurant, not a big private room, and the hot mutton soup is bubbling. Because there is a range hood, the heat will always steam upwards and will not fall on any customer's face at all. Mutton warms people. People who drink soup and eat meat will always become warmer. Even Pei Jingshu, the coldness on her delicate and pretty face has quietly dissipated a lot. Is it necessary for you to speak of yourself so unbearably? She no longer sat so upright, and no longer looked at her from a moral high ground as if she was condemning Shang Zuoyan. Instead, he slowly relaxed his body and picked up the chopsticks. It's not whether it's necessary or not, it's just a fact. Shang Zuoyan looked indifferent. She was really smart. In all the stories just now, she picked Gu Huiyan as cleanly as picking vegetables, as if everything had nothing to do with him. Fun, fun. Pei Jingshu stared at Shang Zuoyan with a bit of anger. She repeated these two words, and then asked, "Is it fun?" Without waiting for Shang Zuoyan to answer, she added, "Is it fun to treat me like a fool?" She felt that Shang Zuoyan was treating her as a fool. Wouldn't she think that she would believe such a rough story framework? What a joke. She asked how Zuoyan could pester Gu Huiyan just for fun. Look at what she has become today. Her career has collapsed in all aspects, her popularity and reputation have been ruined. How could she be willing to take such a big risk just for the sake of it? A so-called fun. Ah, that's it? Indeed, Shang Zuoyan never expected to muddle through like this. Her pretty, doll-like face was finally no longer full of smiles and jokes, but instead looked a bit like she had been seen through resentment. She pouted her little mouth, put down her chopsticks, raised her jade hands, held her cheeks, stared at Pei Jingshu with a resentful expression, and said, "I admit that my intention in approaching him was not pure, but you should be very clear about this purpose. Please, he is a talented person. If he can produce a few albums for me, I will make money no matter what." At this time, she seemed to take off her disguise, giving Pei Jingshu the feeling that she was a profit-seeking woman. In fact, in the entertainment industry, there should be people like this everywhere. The reason why Shang Zuoyan can act so well is simply because she has seen so many people like this. And one thing I have to say is that it is really easier to play a villain than a decent person. Some people always say that the fisherman is a good actor. In fact, is it possible that the character itself is very good, very brilliant, and easy to act, and the two complement each other? Pei Jingshu did not retort, but bit her red lips with her teeth and stared at Shang Zuoyan silently. To be honest, Shang Zuoyan's reasons left her with no place to refute. At the right time, the door curtain shook, and a serving robot came out with the dishes she had just ordered. Oh! Seeing the vegetable seller Zhou Yan's eyes lit up, she hurriedly went to serve the dishes, as if she had forgotten for a moment that she was talking to Pei Jingshu just now. Her careless look gave people the impression that the things she said today were of no importance to her. When the food was served, the first thing I thought about was eating first, instead of continuing to chat with Pei Jingshu. It wasn't until she noticed that Pei Jingshu had been staring at her that she made a forgot expression, said sorry, and continued in a helpless tone. I didn't expect that I would take off my clothes for fun. Now, I won't be able to survive in the country. There was something like a voiceover in her tone, and as smart as Pei Jingshu was, she picked it up immediately. What's the meaning? Pei Jingshu frowned slightly. I'm leaving. Shang Zuoyan used her chopsticks to pick up a piece of dongpo pork that she ordered just now. She didn't shy away from the fact that it had fat meat. She stuffed it into her mouth and chewed it. She looked satisfied but murmured. It's no different from braised pork. Where to? Pei Jingshu stared at her. Logically speaking, she shouldn't care about this issue. Where is Shang Zuoyan going? Whether she is dead or alive, what does it have to do with her, Pei Jingshu? But who makes her always so soft-hearted? Go abroad. Shang Zuoyan drank the barley tea and said. I can't continue to work in domestic entertainment. I can still work abroad. I used to work abroad, and the impact on the outside market is less. It's just that I may earn a little less. After all, in the world, only our country and Europe and the United States can make more money. Let alone small places like Bangsa country. Their stars do not go abroad to go abroad. Many of them do not want to be grounded, but income can only be down to earth. Pei Jingshu fell silent. At this moment, the tip of her nose was a little sore, and her eyes were a little moist. She didn't understand why her ability to empathize was always so strong, and she actually felt sorry for Shang Zuoyan. Even there will be some self-blame. Because no matter what, Shang Zuoyan is where she is today because of her breakup blog. One of her own comments ruined a person's entire career, forcing her to leave the country and develop in a foreign country. She was still a girl. You said, can Pei Jingshu not feel awkward? Although she frantically comforted herself that it was Shang Zuoyan who brought the blame on herself, she was still a kind person. Why do you come to tell me this? Holding back tears seems to have become a required course for Pei Jingshu in the past 6 months, so she will not shed tears at this time, but just asked. Before I leave, I want to be a good person. Shang Zuoyan kept eating and never stopped talking. She rarely looked at Pei Jingshu, and rarely made eye contact with her, as if she was afraid that if she looked at her, her power would be broken. As she ate, she said to herself. To be honest, Pei Jingshu, I envy you for being able to make a man so devoted to you. Even though you hurt him so deeply and made him suffer so much for the past 6 months, all he wants in his mind is to get you back. Shang Zuoyan is really tired of saying the word envy. How she wishes that the recent New Year's Eve movies Stranded, Are You Still Afraid of Heavy Rain and Tenderness are all written for herself. Ah! Sometimes Shang Zuoyan feels that Crystal Love Season is the epitome of them. She, Pei Jingshu, never has to do anything, just wait there, everything will come to her door. And she, Shang Zuoyan, tried her best to get what she wanted, but in the end, it didn't belong to her. Quite ridiculous. You said she was relieved. Give up? Not at all. It's just that it's just due to the helplessness of reality. She doesn't want to leave either, but is it realistic if she doesn't? And now, she just wants to do something good before leaving. No matter how low the authenticity of everything she said today, Her sentence, "I want to do something good before I leave," should never be questioned by anyone. Everything today was caused by her. Without her, Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu would never be where they are today. They would be very happy. So, as the initiator of everything, Shang Xuan felt that she should know something. In the past, she always risked her own life for love, even against the whole world. Now, after experiencing so many things, even though there was not a single good piece of flesh in her injured body, she still wanted to make the person she loved live a good life. She often thinks of the phrase, "I don't want to be an artist anymore," she said in Hello Life Partner, and this sentence is the same now. She thought, if she was not an artist, had no contract restrictions and her work was not affected so much, and did not have to go abroad, would it really be possible to stay with Gu Huiyan? But anyway, those are no longer realistic. Recently, Shang Xuan likes to think about things as little as possible, because the more she thinks about it, the more painful she feels. Life is hard enough, she might as well try to make it sweeter. Forgive him. Not sure if she was full, Shang Xuan put down her chopsticks, gently rubbed her delicate jade hands, looked at the cruise ship outside the window, and said, "This kind of good man is rare in the world. He is dedicated and single-minded. He is also a straight man. He has a misophobia. He has a very upright outlook on life. He is very delicate. He always wants to be worthy of everyone. He is also very talented and can be managed. My lower body." She was talking in no particular order, as if she was talking about whatever came to mind, but she didn't know what was going on, and she actually felt a little sour in her heart as she talked. What she didn't expect was that when she came to her senses, Pei Jingshu reached out and handed her some tissues. "Here, why are you giving me tissues?" Shang Xuan was stunned for a moment and asked stupidly. Pei Jingshu pointed at her cheek. When Shang Xuan raised her hand to touch it, she realized that her tears had slipped down her cheek at some point. And she had no consciousness at all, no feeling at all. "Oh, why are you crying?" Shang Xuan grinned, took the tissue and wiped it, and continued to act like it doesn't matter or don't care. She wiped away just a few tears for a long time, probably because she felt embarrassed and didn't dare to look up. Pei Jingshu's nose was sore and she wanted to cry. She was wondering how many times Shang Xuan cried and how many tears she shed before she even noticed when she was crying. "Are you numb?" She did not understand Shang Xuan, nor did she sympathize with her, because she caused herself misery. But Pei Jingshu is always so kind, and her empathy is always so full. She could definitely feel that the woman in front of her seemed to like Gu Huiyan as much as she did. "Okay, I've said everything I need to say." Although she was not an actor, Shang Xuan controlled her tears very well. Although she wiped them for a long time, no one could see how red her eyes were after wiping them. As she said that, she stood up gently. The pure white dress she wore today was somewhat similar to the maid outfit in the anime. There was a breast bag on the chest, and Seong was shining brightly. "It's just a few drops of oil there, she's so careless and has no one to help her pay attention." Those big, watery eyes looked at Pei Jingshu, and Shang Xuan said, let's go." "I made an appointment." "You eat slowly. I know you don't want to see me. Anyway, it will be difficult for you to see me in the future. I wish you happiness. Oh, by the way, I also wish you a good concert. Success." When she said these words, she smiled quite happily. As she spoke, she put on the pink jacket. After putting it on, she should have left. From the beginning to the end, Pei Jingshu just sat there. She was looking at Shang Xuan, and she was trying to find some loopholes in her pretty, doll-like face. Unfortunately, it was not found in the end. She always looked at Shang Xuan with a bit of heartache in her eyes. This girl was very cute, but she was always miserable. In the past 6 months, Their lives have been difficult, but in the final analysis, she and Gu Huiyan are not irredeemable. Just like now, both of them can still hold concerts and still have fun in this house. But Shang Zuoyan had to go far away because of those things. Although she brought this upon herself, as the only person who had no good outcome, she was still very distressed for her humanitarian reasons. Pei Jingshu was so proud that even if she wanted to give Shang Zuoyan a hug at this time, she couldn't. I could only watch her go. And just at this time. Oh, and one more thing. Shang Zuoyan, who had already opened the door curtain and was about to leave, suddenly paused. She came back again and said, I will definitely meet him before I leave. I'll tell you in advance. But don't worry, it's just a goodbye. I will definitely not do anything extraordinary, otherwise I won't tell you. She playfully winked at Pei Jingshu, stretched out her delicate jade hands to make a wink gesture, and then she walked away gracefully. Although she was quite distressing, she always maintained her dignity with Pei Jingshu. Even when she finally said she would see Gu Huiyan again, it didn't seem like asking for her permission, but more like a notice. It seemed that even if Pei Jingshu disagreed, she would go to see Gu Huiyan. And the reason why she left in a hurry without waiting for Pei Jingshu's answer was because she felt that wanting to see him was inconsistent with the persona she had created today. If it was really just for fun, why did you want to see him one last time before leaving? Pei Jingshu didn't chase her, and she didn't intend to prevent them from meeting. If she didn't let them, they wouldn't necessarily not meet. She just sat there, thinking about what Shang Zuoyan said just now. It is obvious that Shang Zuoyan wants to take all the responsibility on herself, even though many of what she says are not credible because she portrays herself as too despicable. But the role Gu Huiyan played in it was exactly like the Gu Huiyan that Pei Jingshu knew. Therefore, she couldn't help but wonder, was Gu Huiyan really clinging to him all the time and slowly falling? She does not know. But she had to admire Shang Zuoyan. Everything this woman said at noon today planted the seed of Gu Huiyan's innocence in her heart. When she thought about their affairs again, she would always subconsciously think that it was all Shang Zuoyan's fault. Gu Huiyan just didn't understand. Reject. She was always a person who could not have thorns in her heart. She wanted to forgive Gu Huiyan many times, but when she thought of what she heard and saw in the hospital, and what happened between him and Shang Zuoyan, she couldn't do it no matter what. To cross this threshold. So she always needs an explanation, always needs someone to help her pull out this thorn. But Shang Zuoyan is smart. She knows that Pei Jingshu has this thorn, and she also knows how to pull it out. During the extraction, although she portrayed herself as very vulgar, she at least retained her dignity. In the end, she fulfilled everyone with her departure. Indeed, she caused all the troubles and committed all the evils. So now, she uses her own departure to restore everything. Responsibility. Morality. I owe it. These are all things she, Shang Zuoyan, should bear. So in fact, even if Shang Zuoyan asked Pei Jingshu for permission, Pei Jingshu would probably acquiesce to her going to see Gu Huiyan one last time. She is worth it after all. Woohoo! Shang Zuoyan looked very relaxed when she got back in the car. It's funny to say that her career was completely ruined and she was scolded like a sieve. In the past, when she walked on the street, she was afraid that people would recognize her and attract onlookers. Now, when she walks on the street, she is afraid of being recognized and criticized. Scolding, living like a rat crossing the street. But recently, Shang Zuoyan seems to be in good condition. She doesn't cry or make trouble anymore. She can eat and sleep well. She even makes noises and wants to go out to eat delicious food when she has nothing to do. Is it solved? Agent Han Li was also in the car. The reason she accompanied Shang Zuoyan was because she was afraid that she would be beaten by Pei Jingshu and her staff. If Shang Zuoyan hadn't insisted on going alone, she would have definitely followed. Satisfactory solution. Shang Zuoyan laughed and said. Let's go to the mall in front. My friends from abroad asked me to bring them some beautiful clothes. Han Li didn't say anything, just gave her a distressed look, and then took her shopping all afternoon, into the evening, and late into the night. She complained about Shang Zuoyan many times. Shang Zuoyan said that she was bringing clothes to foreign friends, but in the end she tried them on herself and bought many of her own models. She was obviously looking for an excuse to buy clothes for herself. Shang Zuoyan insisted that she was bringing it to her overseas friends, but Han Li bluntly pointed out, you really think everyone has your measurements? Be careful that buying clothes back will humiliate them. You have just returned to a foreign country and you need to be with those around you, such is the relationship between people. Oh, I know, I know. Shang Zuoyan became impatient after hearing this. When returning to the hotel in the evening, Han Li had to leave due to work reasons, so she could only send her downstairs of the hotel. When parting, the experienced agent could not hold back tears and hugged Shang Zuoyan tightly. He said some words of consideration, concern, and entrustment. Shang Zuoyan is the artist with the best conditions she has ever brought up. She can sing and dance. Her appearance and voice are impeccable. She has a good personality and high emotional intelligence, and her popularity in the industry is ridiculously good. If compared, in her heart, even Pei Jingshu, who is known as the beauty of domestic entertainment, cannot compare with Shang Zuoyan. But it happened that such a female star who was supposed to shine was stymied by the word love. Destroyed. Everything is ruined. Gu Huiyan missed her life. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Xuan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 318. This month, Gu Huiyan was in Suzhou. He came very early, basically right after the New Year. Anyway, I don't have a job, so I might as well come to the concert early to prepare. After all, it is my first concert in my life, my first solo performance. Although the situation is not good, it still has some commemorative significance. Many times, symbolic meaning is important to people. It's like the benefits that the company gives out during holidays. Everyone else has them, but if you don't, you're very blue and thin. Recently, Gu Huiyan still has no job. In fact, he should have one. News about him has been spreading like wildfire on major platforms after the New Year. Basically, the negative impact of the breakup incident has been solved with the enthusiasm of fans, so he comes back. The matter became a sure thing. In addition, the blessings of these three songs, Stranded, Are You Still Afraid of Heavy Rain, and especially Tenderness, which is popular in the streets and alleys. Everyone knows that the superstar who once dominated the Chinese music scene is back. So naturally, some brands, spokespersons, etc. that we have cooperated with before will come to him again. Many big names who have never collaborated before also want to take advantage of this opportunity to create a wave of popularity. So if Gu Huiyan wanted to answer, he could actually go back to the days when he was so busy that he didn't even have time to call Pei Jingshu. But it's a pity. Gu Huiyan didn't answer. On the one hand, it's the company's arrangement. What Zhang Ma means is that it's easy to be diverted by others if you accept the notice now, and the price won't be too high. It's better to pick it up after a complete comeback, or to be precise, after the concert. At that time, Gu Huiyan's popularity would have skyrocketed, and the announcements he could access at that time were far from what he can now. On the other hand, in fact, it was probably Gu Huiyan's own wish. Now Gu Huiyan should devote himself to the concert and not be distracted anymore. Now that Xianyu has turned over halfway, he is counting on this concert to be a complete success. If there are any negative comments because of mistakes in the work concert, it will not be worth the gain. Except for emotional matters, this old man always knows what he should do. Sometimes, if she wasn't afraid of hurting him by saying it, Mother Zhang would say that it would be great if you were so emotionally sober, and we don't have to be like this. It took a lot of effort to fight this turnaround. So, this month, Gu Huiyan has been focusing on the concert. Not only some rehearsals of previous works, but also some new works prepared, and some surprise part. Those sessions left Zhang Ma and many of the live bands and producers dumbfounded, and they all felt that the audience would definitely love it. As for the guests, not invited. No one was invited. On the one hand, Gu Huiyan's current situation is not suitable for inviting guests, and on the other hand, it is also because this is Gu Huiyan's first solo concert. How can he invite guests like this? Probably because Gu Huiyan's reputation on the internet has improved, the breakup crisis has almost been resolved, and because he is also preparing for the upcoming concert. The atmosphere here with Gu Huiyan and the others has been pretty good recently. When the house collapsed before, various people were always scolding them, causing Zhang Nuan and his assistants to be offline at work. In the meantime, Gu Huiyan was out of work for half a year, but now he has finally adjusted with Gu Huiyan. Speaking of Zhang Nuan, as a front-line fan of Pei Ban taking care of CP, after Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu broke up, she once asked Ma Jiang to resign, but she was severely scolded by Ma Jiang. How can personal emotions be elevated to work? Zhang Nuan replied that she did not want to leave her job. After all, there were not many high-quality artists like Gu Huiyan in the domestic entertainment industry. Sooner or later, he would come back and become famous again. These are the things that many people did when the breakup crisis was at its hottest. There was a consensus reached by several brands that did not choose to terminate their contracts with Gu Huiyan. After all, his works were there. But Zhang Nuan said that every time she sees Gu Huiyan, she can think of the things that led to their breakup because Gu Huiyan was sorry for Pei Jingshu and betrayed Pei Jingshu. She feels like using a fruit knife to play the role of Gu Huaqiang that Gu Huiyan once played. For the character, the white knife goes in and the red knife comes out, stabbing Gu Hui. Gu Huiyan's hand was injured at that moment, right? Gu Huiyan's life would be really hard to guarantee if she attacked him. The corner of Jiang's mother's mouth twitched, and she had no choice but to give Zhang Nuan the first holiday. To be honest, even if Gu Huiyan resumed work, if he hadn't heard that he wanted to get Pei Jingshu back, Zhang Nuan would not have wanted to come back. When Gu Huiyan heard these allusions from Zhang Ma and other staff members later, he couldn't help but twitching the corner of his mouth and said, "This Tama is a true fan. True fans always reveal their age, not their chicken feed." It is worth mentioning that Zhang Nuan is also from Suzhou. Because she came to her hometown this time, she took Gu Huiyan to eat a lot of local delicacies, such as dongpo meat, squirrel mandarin fish, Suzhou braised duck, etc. Some tasted a little sweet, but in the end they were all rich in oil and red sauce. Gu Huiyan didn't know if he couldn't taste it, but he always felt that it was no different from their Shandong cuisine. If you talk about sweet and sour, there are Shandong cuisine and sweet and sour carp and sweet and sour pork loin. There is a rather special dish called barbel lung soup. The soup tastes quite fresh, and Gu Huiyan likes it quite a bit. But later I heard that the raw materials are mainly the viscera, liver and skin of the fish. At that time, Gu Huiyan almost squirted and gave up the idea of getting another bowl. Some people just have misophobia. No matter how delicious the food is, they can't eat it when they think of the raw materials. At that time, Zhang Nuan teased Gu Huiyan and said, "Why do you really like to eat the 9-turn large intestine, a famous dish in Shandong cuisine? That thing is not as disgusting as this." Gu Huiyan was speechless for a moment and didn't know how to answer. He was actually choked. Ha ha. The fellow staff members laughed. Recently, the laughter has gradually increased, and it seems that it has really returned to the past. In fact, as long as Gu Huiyan can get Pei Jingshu back, nothing will really change. The breakup crisis of the past 6 months is like a dream. Although I am still very moved after waking up for a long time, it will eventually pass and will eventually be forgotten by everyone as time goes by. Internet, no memory. Those who have memories are living people in reality. Call. After eating, Gu Huiyan was waiting for the bus on the side of the road. The weather was so cold. They said it was warm in the south. Gu Huiyan didn't feel it at all. He still had to wear a down jacket. Fortunately, there was air conditioning in the hotel, so he wouldn't feel cold when he went back. I heard that this many homes nearby did not have heating, and Gu Huiyan felt that he would not be able to sleep if he stayed in a place like that. At that time, Gu Huiyan couldn't help but think, do you think people here don't have heating and can they light the stove in winter? It's a honeycomb stove or a coal stove. When Gu Huiyan was in his hometown, when he lived in the village before buying a house in the county, he had a coal stove at home. Gu Huiyan can still recall the smell. People on the internet always say that in the south, the temperature is not low in winter but there is no heating. What if it is too cold and the stove is not lit? He asked Zhang Nuan curiously. Zhang Nuan glared at him speechlessly and said that indeed only you can think of such a question. You just say a few words and that's it? Why is there so much nonsense? Gu Huiyan had a displeased look on his face and felt that the assistant was a bit too arrogant. Have no idea. Zhang Nuan said. Catch Sister Pei back and ask her yourself. She will definitely know. After saying that, she walked away angrily. You. Gu Huixin said, I will replace you sooner or later. Hoo. The cool wind blew from afar, ruthlessly catching the few remaining stubborn leaves on the bare tree by the roadside that had lost all its leaves. Gu Huiyan couldn't help but zip up his coat and looked at everything in the city. He thought of Pei Jingshu. He came to her city and experienced the feeling of the season and weather since she was a child. But there is no her around. It's quite sad. Everyone around me may be thinking of Pei Jingshu. But for some reason, at this moment, Shang Zuoyan also appeared in Gu Huiyan's mind. Everything now shows that he can turn over, and his relationship with Pei Jingshu can be eased. Everything can be treated as if it has never happened in the future, and both his career and relationship seem to be able to recover. Get on track. But everything about Zuoyan seems to be irreversible. Because of his breakup incident, Shang Zuoyan's work has come to a standstill in all aspects. Her endorsement posters have been removed from various large shopping malls, and her program footage has been cut away. She finally went to an event and was still spotted offline. Scold. The members of the group went solo a few months ago, but she, like Gu Huiyan, slowly faded out of everyone's sight. The company and team also tried to save it, but unfortunately the original real hammer was too harsh and the place could no longer be cleaned. No one is like Gu Huiyan. He has a system and works. Even if he is suppressed or his house collapses, he can still come back. Do you think she still has true fans? There must be. But true fans cannot play any role in the major trend. Do you think Gu Huiyan can make an album for her to help her get back on track? That's okay too. There are so many works suitable for her in the system mall that Gu Huiyan can easily find a lot of them. It won't be a problem to put together 2 or 3 high-quality albums. But he couldn't do it. After deciding to pursue Pei Jingshu, he had no reason or qualification to be soft-hearted towards Shang Zuoyan. Although he was very irresponsible, he still chose to let go of Shang Zuoyan's hand. In the past 6 months, he had not contacted Shang Zuoyan once, and he didn't even care. It's not that he doesn't want to, but that he is afraid that if he contacts her again, he will fall into the same situation again and be unable to get out. After the Shuro field in the novel, it depends on how the male protagonist can handle 2 or 3 female protagonists. It's a pity that the Shuro field in reality is never a novel. The 9-year compulsory education makes it impossible for any girl today to accept polygamy. It is extremely cruel. Either all those female protagonists will leave you, or you must make a ruthless decision to choose one and make a just cut with the other. So in the end, Gu Huiyan chose Pei Jingshu. Shang Xuan should feel very uncomfortable and distressed, but Gu Huiyan didn't dare to care about it, because it seemed that the closer he got to Shang Xuan, the deeper he would hurt her. Now, he can only occasionally think of her and worry about her at certain moments. Ba Cao is not just a rice bowl, nor is he just a thief. There is also a saying that everyone often says. Say Cao 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 is here. I just thought of Shang Xuan, and before Gu Huiyan could feel sad for long, suddenly. Ding dong dong. The phone rang in his pocket. When he took it out, Gu Huiyan trembled. It turned out to be a video call from Shang Xuan. Although he didn't know why she suddenly broadcast the video, Gu Huiyan immediately excused himself to go to the bathroom. Instead of getting in the car, he went back to the restaurant and found a quiet place. Connected, Shang Xuan's video. Deng deng. Did you miss me? What surprised Gu Huiyan was that Shang Xuan, who appeared in the camera lens of his mobile phone, was not in a bad mood as he imagined, but seemed to be very happy. One of her white and tender hands was slightly bent, and she put the back of her hand on her chin, making a gesture of holding her face, and winked at Gu Huiyan with a smile. Her eyes are very lively, and they seem to sparkle whenever she looks at them. Gu Huiyan was stunned for a moment, then couldn't help but smile bitterly and said, "It's a shame you can still laugh. Life has all kinds of flavors, so you need to smile, right?" Shang Xuan smiled and was no longer so artificial. She was afraid that Gu Huiyan would say why she was such a girl. She didn't show off to Gu Huiyan. In fact, she would never be able to pretend to Gu Huiyan like she did to Pei Jingshu. She giggled and said, "Gu Huiyan, if I were you, you wouldn't be able to get through it if you didn't kowtow 3 times and thank me properly. Do you know who I just went to see?" She was chirping, as if she was quite happy, and it seemed as if the cunning girl from back then had never changed. She should have always been so heartless. Who? Gu Huiyan did not expose her disguise, he just followed her words and asked. In fact, he did not need to expose her. Pei, guess. Pei Jingshu's last name was blurted out, and Shang Xuan only thought of asking Gu Huiyan to guess. She herself felt a bit stupid, and couldn't help but raise her jade hand and hit her forehead as if she hated the iron. Winking, yet quirky. "You're not going to see Pei Jingshu, are you?" Gu Huiyan looked at Shang Xuan in the mobile phone video strangely. He couldn't relax and was even a little nervous. Why did she go to see Pei Jingshu? "Oh, can't you guess someone else first and let me show off for myself?" Shang Xuan pouted her little mouth, looking like she was angry that Huiyan, the stinky straight man, didn't understand her. She knew she had spilled the beans, but if she was a person with high emotional intelligence, she would have followed her and guessed others first. What a stinky straight man. Hitui. Gu Huiyan. Aim. Is now the time to talk about this kind of topic. Gu Huiyan is a serious person, always has been. TCH, it's so boring. Shang Xuan pouted her mouth with a look of disgust and said. Okay, I just went to see Pei Jingshu. I didn't want to tell you. Why did you see her? Gu Huiyan frowned. Although he didn't want to use a serious tone towards Shang Xuan, his tone was somewhat serious. What else can I do? I'll explain it to you. Shang Xuan pouted. She didn't care at all about Gu Huiyan's seriousness and was not scared by her at all. Just kidding, can grandma scare this old man? Tell me the truth, have you never explained to her what is going on between us in more than half a year? She questioned Gu Huiyan without hesitation, and her tone was very relaxed, as if the matter she was talking about was never something difficult to discuss, it was just a private matter between them, but a casual chat after dinner. Gu Huiyan was silent and didn't know how to answer for a while. Many times, Gu Huiyan always felt that Shang Xuan understood him better than Pei Jingshu. Shang Xuan always knew what he would do and whether he would do it. Hey. I knew it. You stinky straight man. Shang Zuoyan finally cursed out the 3 words smelly straight man. The scolding was so relaxing. Gu Huiyan was so confused that he wanted to say that I didn't explain why it had nothing to do with you. As for the scolding, is the tone so strong? You, het. She immediately felt happy and happy. You are so sweet, you. You called me all of a sudden just to piss me off, he said helplessly. How can it be? Shang Zuoyan rolled her eyes. When she rolled her eyes, her big eyes were really white and scary. She said. Of course I'm here to ask you to thank me. I've done things for you that a straight guy like you wouldn't be able to do even if I beat him to death. Why don't you thank me properly? Gu Huiyan was a little silent for a moment. In fact, he wanted to ask Shang Zuoyan how he explained it, but he couldn't open his mouth. He always felt that it would be difficult for her to answer such words. But judging from her relaxed state, this explanation round should not be difficult. She seemed to have really solved this difficulty for Gu Huiyan. Who cares about the process after knowing the ending? So, Gu Huiyan just said. How do you want me to thank you? Well. Shang Zuoyan stretched out a green jade finger, gently poked the edge of her red lips, and thought for a while as if chewing her finger. Laugh. After a moment, she actually smiled and said. Just forget about the mundane things like inviting me to dinner, otherwise. Gu Huiyan thought that even inviting her to dinner was tacky, and the conditions she proposed must be quite easy. At this moment, Gu Huiyan even took out his thermos cup to drink water. Who knows, the next moment, she actually said. Otherwise, you can be my boyfriend for a day. Puff. As soon as a mouthful of warm water entered his mouth, Gu Huiyan safely squirted it out before he could even swallow it. Cough cough cough. Old Six coughed for a long time. While coughing, he stared at Shang Zuoyan at the other end of the video and said in disbelief. You cough, you are angry with me, right? I cough cough, I cough. Ha ha, look at you like that, ha 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 ha. Gu Huiyan was so angry that Shang Zuoyan was so proud. In the video, she was laughing so hard that she looked like a naughty girl who had succeeded in teasing others. At this moment, Gu Huiyan's ears were filled with Shang Zuoyan's smile. And Shang Zuoyan's ears were filled with the sound of Gu Huiyan's cough. The sound is noisy and messy. And just when the laughter and choking cough slowly quieted down. Call. Shang Zuoyan took a deep breath, finally being serious, but pretending to be relaxed and smiling, she said to Gu Huiyan. Gu Huiyan, I have to leave. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 319. Walk. Gu Huiyan frowned, and suddenly stopped while wiping the water droplets that had accidentally sprayed on his body with a tissue. Where to? Go abroad. Shang Zuoyan smiled quite easily and said. The company asked me to go abroad for development. Our company has its own trainee company overseas. Not only do I go to work, but I can also take care of my junior brothers and sisters. As she said that, she winked at Gu Huiyan and said. I'm also very popular abroad. Artists who go abroad, whether they are idols, young celebrities, models, or serious movie stars, all bring glory to the country and deserve respect. Shang Zuoyan made her debut in Bangsa country before. The culture there is bordering on Europe and the United States, so Shang Zuoyan is quite popular both in the market there and in the European and American markets. Therefore, what she said was true. Only. Gu Huiyan knew exactly why she wanted to leave. Let's be honest, it's really not as easy to make money outside as it is in China. The entertainment industry in our country is really easy to make money, let alone first and second tier celebrities, even if they only have less than a few 100,000 fans. A small internet celebrity with millions of dollars can easily earn a lot of money, and freedom of wealth is not a problem. If it's not that you can't survive at home, who would want to go abroad? China is the real comfort zone for celebrities and artists. Do you have to leave? She made such a relaxed gesture, which made it difficult for Gu Huiyan to say sad words, so he pretended to be relaxed and asked. Well, I probably have to leave. Shang Zuoyan laughed and said. Don't be too sad. I may be gone for several years, but it doesn't mean I won't come back. If you miss me, you can send me a message and call me. I can answer them. Then I can leave you an address during the holidays. Or if you see something delicious and fun, you can also send me cross-border express delivery, and... She chattered a lot, fantasizing a lot, but it sounded like a conversation between friends. There was no intimacy at all, and she seemed to be deliberately keeping a distance. Look, I went out and bought a lot of things today. Wow, this dress looks so good. She showed Gu Huiyan what she had bought when she went shopping today. She was leaving soon and might not be back for a long time, so she needed to go out and buy some necessities. Buying clothes and the like was just a way to go. Of course, at the end of her shopping trip, she just considered buying clothes as her main priority. What she showed Gu Huiyan was a very beautiful blue and white knitted sweater. It was a close-fitting jacket with a high hem and long sleeves. It showed off the proportions of a girl. There were some cloud-like patterns on it. It was probably worn like hers. She will be very beautiful with her proud figure. She also showed Gu Huiyan a cup. It was a big pink cup with a lot of stickers on it. It was very cartoony and beautiful. Of course, there must be some small items such as bracelets, rings, etc. She always likes these. There are some more private things that I can't show you. Finally, she blinked her big watery eyes and smiled at Gu Huiyan, not forgetting to wipe the itch. She looks so beautiful, so cute, and seems to be very happy. And from the beginning to now, she didn't give Gu Huiyan any chance to speak. You. Gu Huiyan finally waited patiently for her to finish speaking and wanted to say something. Oh, by the way, there's this one too. She suddenly took a bag from the side and took out 2 white and pink scarves. She giggled and said. I bought 2 scarves and will give them to you when we meet in a few days. They will be used as parting gifts. Just take them out and look at them when you miss me in the future. With that said, she tied the scarf around her neck in front of Gu Huiyan. I guess you, a stinky straight man, don't know how to wear a scarf, right? I'll teach you, you see. She showed Gu Huiyan many ways to tie a scarf. Shang Zuoyan was always the kind of lively girl who always liked various and colorful things. She knew a lot about dressing. Gu Huiyan only knew how to tie a scarf in the past. Bring the 2 strands together and turn them around, take them out and pull them in to finish, it's no different from buttoning up. And Shang Zuoyan showed Gu Huiyan at least 3 or 4 ways to tie scarves that he knew. Each of them looked good, and one of them was just like twists, which was quite cute. It's a pity that Shang Zuoyan said that she dislikes that kind the most. She always doesn't like cuteness and feels that it is not worth mentioning in front of sexiness. If it weren't for the fact that it was too cold to show her legs in winter, she would even want to wear a skirt all the time. In the video, she is noisy and chattering, which is annoying to listeners. It is like the chirping of cicadas in summer or the house sparrows flying back in spring. In Gu Huiyan's words, it must be Shang Zuoyan, please stop chirping. But for some reason, she gives people a very beautiful feeling like this. It was very cold outside, and even Gu Huiyan had to carry a thermos cup with him to drink some hot water. Although Shang Zuoyan was so shocked by the hot water that she did not drink it, she was like a little sun, dispelling the cold winter. Bringing all the coolness to Gu Huiyan. In the end, she didn't know if she was afraid that Gu Huiyan would think too much, but she added another sentence after finishing speaking. Although they are exactly the same, they are not for couples. I bought 2 of them because I liked them too. I bought them on the roadside. Even if someone takes a photo, They won't find anything out. Don't worry. Netizens always like to speculate. Many celebrities use well-known brands. If two male and female celebrities are found wearing couple-style bracelets and rings, there will definitely be scandals. But if you buy it on the roadside, you don't have to worry about it. If you buy it on the roadside, no one will say anything even if it is heavy. Will you buy me a pink one? Gu Huiyan rolled his eyes and couldn't bear to talk about serious topics. Maybe he understood that Shang Zuoyan didn't want to talk about serious topics. She interrupted Gu Huiyan more than once when he wanted to ask. Gu Huiyan, this old man, is sometimes considerate. What's wrong with the pink? Doesn't it look good? Shang Zuoyan pouted her mouth and said righteously. I'm telling you, sometimes you are too straight. Look at the clothes you usually wear. They are black and white and gray all day long. If you don't know, you would think you are an old man. Hey, shut up. I know you are going to say girl, but who stipulates that boys can't wear pink? Mom is not a girl in her heart, in her actions, and not in appearance. She is the most girl a little girl. They can do the most manly thing of exposing their relationship at the peak of their popularity, and there are many people who look tough but are actually mama's boys. She. Don't let Gu Huiyan open his mouth at all. Okay, whatever you say will be whatever it is. Gu Huiyan shook his head and rarely refuted this. In fact, there seemed to be no pink-related clothes in his wardrobe. Let me tell you, your stylist is really irresponsible, and your girlfriend is even more irresponsible. Shang Zuoyan still did not give up any opportunity to speak ill of Pei Jingzhu. She said, as a good girlfriend, you need to know how to dress up your boyfriend. Look at Pei Jingzhu, she is dressed so beautifully all day long, and anyone who is leaked by Reuters at the airport is outrageously beautiful. Her own beauty has no regard for yours. Free up, you must mention this to her from now on, look at what you usually wear. What she didn't say was that if it were her boyfriend, she would definitely want to drag him out every day and dress him handsomely, so that when others compliment her and hear that she dressed him up, she will feel very proud. I'm not dressed as crudely as you say, right? Gu Huiyan couldn't hold himself back and retorted. He was usually a bit casual, but that was because of the system. When attending formal occasions, he always wore suits and ties and looked very expensive. Okay. Pook. Shang Zuoyan chuckled and said. What? Did it hit your sore spot? To be honest, Gu Huiyan really wants to pull out Shang Zuoyan from the other side of the screen, pinch her baby fat face and give her a good tug. Transform. She seemed very happy to tease Gu Huiyan and Shang Zhouyan, but the laughter had to come to an end. After she finished laughing, she put a green jade finger on her chin and said. Anyway, I have to leave. I won't be able to catch the flight next Friday night, which is the night before your concert. I really want to go to your concert. Speaking of this, she didn't know what she thought of, and suddenly asked teasingly. I guess you should leave me the tickets for the best seats in the infield, right? It's a pity that I can't go. Of course I won't help you save it. If any of my friends ask you for tickets, just say it's for my sake. Give them face, so that I will also have face. You're really rude, Gu Huiyan said bluntly. Which of us is following whom? Why should I be polite to you? Shang Zuoyan smiled brightly. Gu Huiyan was smarter this time. Before she could chatter to the next topic, he rushed to ask. Are you in such a hurry to leave? Can't you celebrate the new year? With Shang Zuoyan's current situation, she will definitely not be able to survive in domestic entertainment. Even if she can survive, it will be many years before most people have forgotten things related to her. Of course, it doesn't necessarily matter whether she is still in her flowering period at that time. So she must go. Only. Now we are looking at the 12th lunar month, and the Chinese New Year is less than a month away. The new year is approaching. At this time, people are thinking about how to get home, but she wants to go abroad. Gu Huiyan is more traditional, so he just wanted to say, "Why don't you leave after the new year?" If he remembered correctly, Shang Zuoyan didn't go home for the new year last year because of her own reasons. She won't go back this year? I get angry when I mention this. Shang Zuoyan puffed up her cheeks angrily, pinched Lu Yao, rolled her eyes, and said, "They said they have an event at the end of the year that they want me to attend. It's a resource that comes with signing the contract. I can't avoid it." She didn't explain in detail, she just scolded the party member who called her over as bloody as hell. She didn't know if the person on the other side would sneeze at this time. Gu Huiyan nodded and thought for a long time, but in the end he didn't say anything to comfort him, he just said, "I send you." These three words are really annoying in many cases, because they mean separation and that many people may not see each other again for a long time. Okay. Shang Zuoyan agreed without thinking. She didn't care about the consequences if she and Gu Huiyan were photographed at the airport at the same time. This was very like her, heartless. Crotch ran, she hasn't finished speaking yet. But I think you'd better not be in a hurry to say goodbye, and leave it until we meet. At this point, she couldn't help but point her finger at the camera, reminding Gu Huiyan. "Hey, you just agreed to be my boyfriend for a day. Come and thank me for helping you solve your problem. You can't break your promise." "When did I promise you?" Gu Huiyan's forehead was covered with black lines. He wanted to say, "What the hell," I squirted out a mouthful of water at that moment. As long as labor and management say something related to promise, the key point is that I didn't say anything and you just took it as my promise. You agreed. Look at you. You are always so irresponsible. I don't care. You agreed anyway. Shang Zuoyan gave full play to her unreasonableness. She looked like a doll in the mobile phone screen, and her unreasonableness was completely irresistible. "Ah, okay, don't be so quiet, why don't you let me promise?" Gu Huiyan was really having a headache when she chatted there. To be honest, Gu Huiyan himself never thought that he would agree to become Shang Zuoyan's boyfriend so casually. Even if it's just one day. Of course, he also knew that this was because Shang Zuoyan was leaving. Even if she didn't say it, Gu Huiyan understood that this was probably her biggest wish before leaving. Looking back at everything in the past, no matter what, Gu Huiyan had a lot of responsibility for getting her to where she is today. He rejected her outright if he didn't like her at the beginning. Where did all these things come from? Now, it seems that both he and Pei Jingshu can get back on track. Everything in the future seems to be as if it didn't happen. Only Shang Zuoyan's injured world will be achieved. Then, she was in such a miserable state and was about to leave. How could Gu Huiyan not help her achieve her last wish? Admittedly. Gu Huiyan also knows that now he can no longer have any trouble with Shang Zuoyan, and can no longer be exposed to any negative remarks related to Shang Zuoyan, otherwise he, a salted fish, will not be able to turn over. A person can act in his life, but he only needs to be clear in his heart. Before she left, she kindly took all the matters into her own hands. She kindly helped the stinking straight man Gu Huiyan give the explanation to Pei Jingshu, and prepared a parting gift for Gu Huiyan, but she didn't want to let everyone worry about appearing so animated. With her like this, how could Gu Huiyan have the heart to refuse her last wish before leaving? He, I knew you were the best to me. Gu Huiyan agreed. As expected by Shang Zuoyan, she always knew Gu Huiyan very well and knew what the stinky straight man liked most and what he disliked most. She also. He knows how to take advantage of his soft-heartedness. Sometimes she thought that if she kept taking advantage of Gu Huiyan's soft-heartedness for her own benefit, she would be able to get a lot of things out of him. She thought that when they saw each other for the last time in a few days, she would definitely remind Gu Huiyan to pay attention to this and not to be so soft-hearted anymore, especially not to be soft-hearted to any girl except her. She was considerate, so she could see that Gu Huiyan had concerns when he promised her, so she raised her eyebrows and said with a smile. You must not have so much psychological burden. Pei Jingsha knows about this. I told her when we met. You told her that I would be your boyfriend for a day. Gu Huiyan rolled his eyes, obviously not believing it. Oh, it can't be that specific. Shang Zuoyan pouted her little mouth, stuck out her pink tongue and made a face, as if her conspiracy had been discovered. She said. Anyway, you are single now, so this is an honest date for us. In the past, she always felt that she was living in the shadows, but this time it seemed that it would be wonderful, so her big watery eyes were full of longing. It was that yearning that made Gu Huiyan rarely abandon all worries. He no longer looked forward or backward, but nodded and said. Good. For a moment, Gu Huiyan would think that it had never been so difficult to promise her. Yeah. What day is that? When do you have time? Huh. When she mentioned the date, her eyes lit up, and Gu Huiyan could even feel little stars twinkling in her big eyes during the video call. The day after tomorrow. Gu Huiyan said. I'll make arrangements tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. By the way, where are you now? I am here. Shang Zuoyan subconsciously wanted to say that she was in Suzhou, but thought that if she said that she was in Suzhou, they would definitely be playing in Suzhou. To be honest, she had been in Suzhou for a few days and had done all the things she should do. She felt that there was no point in staying any longer. Besides, Suzhou was very busy recently because of Gu Pei's concert. At this time, she and Gu Huiyan went shopping in Suzhou. If it is photographed and exposed, it will be a big problem. It's better to find a place where there is less attention. Well. Shang Zuoyan pouted her mouth, thought for a moment, and said. Let's go to Chongqing. I want to eat hot pot. I want to have a good meal before I leave. It's no secret that she likes to eat hot pot. She mentioned it a lot when she was interviewed on the show. It is said that she was eating hot pot for a week when she was most exaggerated. It's normal for hot girls to love hot pot. Nowadays, foreign trade is developed, and even though many things can be tasted authentic abroad, when it comes to hot pot, you really can't get serious hot pot from the Sichuan and Chongqing regions abroad. Okay. Gu Huiyan nodded. He had been to Chongqing for work before, but he didn't stay too much because of work, so he just took this opportunity to have a look around. Then let's meet near the Liberation Monument in Yubei, Chongqing the day after tomorrow morning. Shang Zuoyan's pretty, doll-like face was full of expectations, and she chirped. Oh, what should I wear? It shouldn't be very cold over there, right? Wow, it doesn't seem to be below freezing. I want to wear a skirt, but I should bring a thick coat, right? I want to bring this, and... At this moment, she was like an ordinary girl who was in the sweet stage of love and had made an appointment to meet her boyfriend. She is really desirable like this. And she should be like this. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 320. Everything, as long as you feel it's worth it. This is the signature of Shang Zuoyan's V-letter circle of friends. This was what Gu Huiyan saw the night he landed in Chongqing. Shang Zuoyan used to be a girl who liked to post on WeChat moments. She liked to show off. No matter where she saw anything interesting and delicious, she liked to post it. She started posting less last year, but recently she started posting more and more. What's funny is that even though she didn't tell Gu Huiyan that she was in Suzhou, some of the geographical locations in the pictures she posted in her circle of friends were perfectly exposed. At this point, It's just that Gu Huiyan didn't choose to expose it. After explaining the work as much as possible, he squeezed out a day and flew to Chongqing in a low-key manner the next night. Chongqing is the capital of hot pot, the birthplace of hot pot. When you land at the airport and exit the terminal hall, you can smell the faint smell of hot pot. Don't worry, it's not an illusion, because there are also hot pot restaurants in the airport. It is said that Chongqing Hot Pot and its franchise stores account for half of the domestic hot pot market, with tens of thousands of hot pot stores in the city. The night he landed, he was a little tired from work and arrived a little late. Gu Huiyan was alone, so he didn't go out. He just ordered a takeaway, ate something, and went to bed. Isn't the highlight the next day? The next day, Gu Huiyan got up very early. To be honest, he was a little annoyed when he got up. He didn't like getting up early, but who told him to make an appointment with Shang Zuoyan very early? I don't know if she cherishes this day very much, so Shang Zuoyan made an appointment with Gu Huiyan very early to meet at 7:30 in the morning. Gu Huiyan didn't care. It's simple for boys to go out. They just get up, wash their hair, face, and blow dry before going out. Gu Huiyan, a rough guy, doesn't even need to do skincare. He gets up half an hour early, packs up, blows his hair, and then goes out. Shang Zuoyan, on the other hand, needs to put on makeup and dress up, so a girl will definitely not be able to go out if she has to go out for an hour or two. She is about 7:30, so why not get up at 4 or 5 o'clock? After half a year, Gu Huiyan's hair has grown back. It is said that he recently had to style his hair for a concert, so his hair is very long, like a long-haired monster, but to a certain extent, this hair can also become a kind of him. Disguise can reduce the possibility of being recognized. Gu Huiyan has a good sense of time. It was almost 7:20 when he arrived at the agreed-upon location near Jifangbei. This area is actually a very commercialized business district. The neighborhood is quite prosperous, with various high-rise buildings dazzling the eyes, and the characteristics of the mountain city are at a glance. Wu, because it is very full, gives people a very prosperous feeling. But Gu Huiyan always felt a bit crowded. It feels like many big cities are quite crowded, and it's like you can't see the sun among the high-rise buildings. This time was actually very early. It was not yet the master's time, and many stores were not open yet. Being in the center of a bustling urban area, it was definitely not a problem if there was no one there, but there were not many young people in sight. Do your contemporary smelly young people go shopping at 7:30 in the morning? I'm here, where are you? When it was almost past the agreed time, Gu Huiyan sent a message to Shang Zuoyan. After a while, she recalled Huiyan's voice. Her tone was a little hasty, and she said, "I'll be there soon, please wait for me." Gu Huiyan thought she was really arriving soon and replied okay, but after nearly half an hour, he still didn't see Shang Zuoyan. I couldn't help but send another message to ask, but she still said she would be there soon and had already turned the corner. But in the blink of an eye, half an hour passed. Gu Huiyan couldn't help but call and question him. He, a well-known celebrity, had been shopping in the middle of the most prosperous area of the city for more than an hour. Is he really not afraid of being discovered? "Oh, I'm really going to be there soon." This woman said on the front foot that she was about to arrive, but on the back foot she actually said, "If you are really anxious, come and wait for me downstairs in my hotel. I live very close." "Didn't you say you'd be arriving soon?" Gu Huiyan rolled his eyes and almost rolled his eyes to the sky. As a result, Shang Zuoyan said to him with a backhand, "When I look at you, you haven't gone shopping with a girl, you stinky straight man. Gu Huiyan wants to meet you, and if I don't pinch your face to pieces, it's all for nothing." "Oh, okay, right away." Shang Zuoyan didn't say anything nonsense. After hanging up the phone, she sent Gu Huiyan the location. Gu Huiyan silently held his forehead and went downstairs to the hotel helplessly. This time Shang Xueyan did not keep him waiting for long. She came down from upstairs almost as soon as Gu Huiyan arrived. Today, Shang Xueyan wore a pink sweater with a white lining, giving off a whole first love feeling. It is said that she always likes to wear clothes with long sleeves that can hide her hands. In her words, she doesn't need to wear gloves and her hands don't get cold. The lower body is a standard underwear with no wind. She may be wearing shorts underneath, but because the sweater is very long and can cover her buttocks, she can't see it at all. She can only see two round and jade legs wrapped under the bare leg artifact. It is worth mentioning that she wore two very tall white boots, the kind that reached below the knees and were similar to the previous night boots. Because the shoelaces are very high, they can tighten the calf, very flattering the shape of the legs, and they can also keep you warm. I just can't guarantee whether my feet will be smelly. But steaming is very healthy. After losing weight last year, Shang Xueyan's legs felt better than before. Not to mention how attractive her legs were after wearing these boots. To be honest, Gu Huiyan never thought that Shang Xueyan could wear her legs so well in winter. Have a feeling. How about today's outfit, a proper sweet girlfriend outfit? Located in the south, the temperature in Chongqing in January is not low and it is wet and cold, but after all, just wearing a sweater is not enough, so Shang Xueyan wore a scarf and brought a coat, and when she came down with her bag on her back, she looked it was a bit hurried to go up, as if he had really been busy and not deliberately delayed Gu Huiyan's time. Ah! When they met, Shang Xueyan ran. She jumped on Gu Huiyan like a sloth, put her arms around his neck, and clamped his waist with her feet. Hug him tight. Shang Xueyan, dressed so beautifully, attracted a lot of attention along the way. When she threw herself into Gu Huiyan's arms so eagerly, Gu Huiyan noticed a lot of sour looks. It's 9 o'clock. It's a pity that the imaginary atmosphere was eventually destroyed by Gu Huiyan's words, it's 9 o'clock. The appointment was to meet at 7:30, but now it's 9 o'clock, and it's been delayed for an hour and a half. Do you think girls can just wash their faces and blow their hair like you boys when they go out? I spent more than half an hour just choosing clothes. Shang Xueyan got off Gu Huiyan's arms, not retreating at all, and angrily argued with Gu Huiyan. Then you can't make an appointment later or get up early. Gu Huiyan said without hesitation. Do you still have a sense of time? Shang Xueyan was going to be furious. It was pretty good just now, but why did she become like this when talking to Gu Huiyan? Resisting the urge to beat Gu Huiyan into a pig's head with her fists, she rolled her eyes, put her hands around her chest, and said with a sweet groan. Someone has agreed to be my boyfriend for a day, is that all he wants to do? Gu Huiyan shook his head and stopped being that shrimp-headed man. He shrugged and said. As long as you are happy. We. Shang Xueyan smiled, then hugged Gu Huiyan's arm. When Gu Huiyan looked over, she pointed to her mouth where she was wearing a mask and said. Since we are your boyfriend, let's kiss him first. As she said that, she looked around to see if no one was paying attention to them, and then carefully lifted up her white mask, revealing her delicate and red lips. The funny thing is that because she had to pull the mask up, the mask covered her eyes. With her eyes covered and her mouth exposed, Shang Xueyan pouted, looking a little silly, but also inexplicably cute. Gu Huiyan smiled, raised his hand and touched her red lips lightly. Huh? What is this? Isn't this a mouth? Hey. When Shang Xueyan noticed it and pulled down the mask covering his eyes, Gu Huiyan laughed and ran away. Gu, you stinky bastard. Don't run. Stop. If it weren't for this being on the street, and they were both big stars and it was inconvenient to call him by his first name, Shang Xueyan would have chased him by calling him names. She's always been like this. Call. After chasing for a long time before finally catching up, Shang Xueyan angrily hit Gu Huiyan several times. I'm thirsty, go buy me milk tea. She angrily looked like she couldn't be coaxed, and pointed to the milk tea shop not far away and asked Gu Huiyan to buy milk tea. At this time, there were more people on the street. Gu Huiyan did not refuse, lowered the brim of his hat, and went to buy 2 cups of milk tea for her. In fact, as a celebrity, if you don't really look like Pei Jingshu and hide a little in private, you really won't be discovered so easily. Back when Zhang Yao was working in the capital and went shopping, a passerby asked for her V-letter. Gu Huiyan often goes out to eat, drink and go shopping secretly, and he really doesn't get recognized every time. Isn't this? Throughout the whole process, he looked like an ordinary person and was not recognized by anyone at all. After getting the hot milk tea, Shang Zuoyan took a sip and became less angry. It is worth mentioning that she accidentally got a few drops on her lips while drinking the milk tea. She didn't seem to notice. Do not move. At this time, to her surprise, Gu Huiyan held her face with both hands, and before she could react, Gu Huiyan came over. He stuck out his tongue and gently licked away the few drops of milk tea on her lips. His movements were understated, as if they were normal, but he moved very quickly, as if he was afraid that he would feel greasy if he was slow for a second. Wow you, hey, hey. At that moment, Shang Zuoyan's face turned red. Even though she was wearing a mask, she could still see the rapid redness visible to the naked eye, which directly reached the roots of her ears. Okay. At the first moment, her brain was confused. She could only feel the itchy touch on her lips just now, and the cool feeling in the winter, which was probably due to saliva. After reacting, Shang Zuoyan was thinking, does this overwhelming wealth really belong to me? Is this really true? Am I dreaming? She even raised her hand and pinched her jade leg wrapped under the bare leg artifact. Hiss, it hurt. This was not a dream, this was real. Are you so good at it? Even though she was wearing a mask, knowing that Gu Huiyan couldn't see the corners of her mouth that reached to her ears, Shang Zuoyan still raised her hand to cover her mouth. She was so shy that she thought Gu Huiyan was a stinky straight man, but it turned out like she has always underestimated him. Sure enough, Gu Huiyan's nickname Gu Lalu was not just a boast. This guy hides so well. Just now, Shang Zuoyan felt that her body was getting warm. Okay. I can't even sweat anymore. Who would have thought that Shang Zuoyan would one day be turned into such a bear? This is not many times better than direct kiss. Gu Huiyan just laughed and said nothing. Shang Zuoyan looked around and saw that no one was around, secretly put down the milk tea, and then sneaked up to Gu Huiyan. When he turned around, well, she hugged him and kissed him. There is no reason for him to flirt with her, she can't kiss him. It's funny, after kissing Shang Zuoyan, she was a little shy and forgot to hold hands with Gu Huiyan. It was Gu Huiyan who reached out her hand, and she handed it over blankly. Shang Zuoyan's heart was pounding as the two of them walked on the streets of Chongqing, heading towards Hanja Cave. It is a relatively famous local attraction. Although the best time to take pictures is when the lights are on at night, their time is limited and they may not be able to wait until night. The scope of activities is also limited, so they can only go closer and not easy to be seen. Discover the place. It just so happens that Hanjiadong is very close to the Liberation Monument. It is said that Hanja Cave is full of people inside and outside at night, and it is easy to be recognized if there are too many people. It is worth mentioning that there is smog in Chongqing today, and it is very serious. At the intersection of two rivers, Chongqing, a mountainous city, is known as the Fog City. There is a lot of fog, and the exhaust gas is not easy to escape. In the past, coal was used for various industries and domestic uses, so there will be fog all year round. In winter, the season when smog occurs most frequently, and today is not a sunny day, there is no telling when the smog will dissipate on a cloudy day without the sun. Carrying a white bag, carrying milk tea in her left hand, and being held by Gu Huiyan on her right hand, the two of them walked on the streets of Chongqing like the most ordinary couple. This feeling made Shang Zuoyan very satisfied and enjoyed it. "Hey, take a photo for me." Shang Zuoyan likes to ask Gu Huiyan to take photos for her when she goes to a place that she thinks looks good, or a relatively representative building. "Oh, what did you take a picture of?" But it's a pity that every time Gu Huiyan takes a photo, she will collapse. She feels that she is dressed very beautifully and looks beautiful in the mirror. If she takes the photo by herself, she will also look beautiful. But why do Gu Huiyan always shoot those death angles? Gu Huiyan would occasionally explain that it was because he was too tall. Facts have proved that it is really not easy for tall boys to take photos of others, because their perspective is always very different from that of short ones, and the photos taken are easier. Condescending. And if they were asked to squat down to shoot, it would be difficult for them to find the angle because they have never experienced the feeling of a low angle. So, girls who are looking for a boyfriend and like tall boys, please note, don't have high expectations when it comes to taking photos. It rained when we arrived near Hanja Cave. It didn't rain heavily, but it would make our clothes wet, so Gu Huiyan bought 2 transparent umbrellas sold on the roadside for 10 yuan each. Shang Zuoyan didn't fight, but insisted that Gu Huiyan help her fight. Gu Huiyan asked why, and she scolded her for being a straight man because I want to hold an umbrella with you, so that we can be closer. She never forgets anything that could make her call Gu Huiyan a smelly straight man. Hanjiadong is not fun here. It is well known and fresh to outsiders. It has a lot of various things to eat, drink and play. But those things are available all over the country, so they are really not that rare. Gu Huiyan thought he could find some local specialties when he went in, but when he saw the standard sizzling squid, fried skewers, stinky tofu and other snacks that were available everywhere, he lost any interest. "Oh, yes, there are Chongqing noodle shops everywhere, but I don't know if it's authentic or not until I've tried it." It's worth mentioning that they didn't take the elevator down at first. The elevator floor confused Gu Huiyan and Shang Zuoyan. When they went down the elevator on the 9th floor, they originally thought about the ground. Seeing many people going to the 3rd floor, they thought the 3rd floor was the ground floor, so they went out from the 3rd floor. It turned out that the 3rd floor was not the ground floor and was a bit high. When they went back, they saw many people going to basement 1. From upstairs, it felt like there were several floors away, so they followed them to basement 1. Underground 1 has a nice view, very close to the Kaki River, but it's just an underground parking lot. This time, Gu Huiyan firmly chose the 1st floor, firmly believing that the 1st floor was his ideal ground floor. However, when he went out, he found that it was not, but a snack street on the floor below his ideal ground floor. In the end, Gu Huiyan had no choice but to take Shang Zuoyan up the stairs to the 2nd floor, reaching the ideal ground floor. That's it, I spent a long time looking for an elevator when I went back. It's really not easy. Gu Huiyan almost lost the concept of ground floor when he walked around Hanjiadong. If he really went to the famous Kuixing Tower, where you thought you were on the 1st floor but actually you were on the 22nd floor, it would really confuse him. Here. I'm so tired. After shopping for a long time and taking pictures for a long time, Shang Zuoyan was so tired that her feet hurt from walking, so the two of them had to find a seat to sit down and rest. "Gu Huiyan, why don't you find a place where you can massage my feet for me?" Shang Zuoyan raised her little feet wrapped in white boots and said. Gu Huiyan almost spit out his milk tea when he heard this. He wiped his mouth, looked at Shang Zuoyan's white leather boots, and couldn't help but say. "If you don't press it, your bladder will smell. Your feet are the ones that stink. How can you say that a girl's feet are smelly?" The angry Shang Zuoyan gave him another small punch. I don't know if she mentioned it, but Gu Huiyan took a few more glances at her boots. Of course, it would be unconscionable for you to say that you were just looking at the boots. He must have looked up along the boots. What are you looking at, pervert? Shang Zuoyan glared at him, but her tone was not serious, and her pretty face even turned slightly red. No, I'm just curious. Are you wearing pants under your sweater? Gu Huiyan asked. Of him. Shang Zuoyan subconsciously wanted to say that she must have worn it, but after thinking about it, it seemed a bit unsentimental to say so, so she blushed slightly, stuck out her pink tongue at Gu Huiyan, blinked her big watery eyes gently, and said with her white lips. Jade's hands grabbed the pink sweater and hugged the edge of her buttocks, and said with a smile. Why don't you lift it up and take a look? Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 321. Another day. Gu Huiyan, a gentleman, has no interest in teasing other people's skirts. TCH, you are so boring. Shang Zuoyan pouted her little mouth and was about to scold Gu Huiyan and say that if you are not a gentleman, you are just a stinky straight man. Gu Huiyan suddenly focused on her bare legs artifact. The old man asked curiously. Is this thing warm? Is it really not cold? Shang Zuoyan was immediately laughed at by this guy, and she thought to herself, if you want to touch him, you can touch him. Why do you have to change the subject? If you want to touch me, do you have to beg me to touch him? She originally had her hair loose, probably because she was tired from walking, so she raised her proud neck, raised her two jade hands, and tied her hair up. While tying it, she said, you'll know just by touching it. It is worth mentioning that when she raised her hands to tie her hair, she would subconsciously raise her chest. The two brothers Xiong and Daxiang seemed to be ready to come out, with their heads held high and their chests held high, proud and alluring. Is that okay? Gu Huiyan looked around and saw that no one was paying attention to him. His hidden appearance did not attract the attention of any paparazzi. They were not discovered all the way around. Why are you acting like a thief? Shang Zuoyan tied her hair into a high ponytail. It is worth mentioning that the way it was tied was not pretty, and the back of her head was a little droopy. Of course, this is not to blame for her poor hair tying skills. The main reason is that she has too much hair. Many girls with a lot of hair always suffer from sagging in the back of their heads. She did not look at Gu Huiyan, but quietly stretched out her round and slender legs, her eyes rolled around, with an expression that she wanted to laugh but was holding back. Her pretty face flushed slightly, and she said, we agreed to be a boyfriend for one day, and we are already boyfriends. How can we not let him touch his legs? Besides, what does this mean? Shang Zuoyan always doesn't understand why many boys on the internet always promote their legs very prominently. What's outstanding about girls is far more than just legs. Legs are just the most basic thing, okay? In other words, can those who are healthy be exposed to you casually? All the good things are hidden. So for Shang Zuoyan, touching her boyfriend's legs is really childish. Gu Huiyan said it made sense. So he quietly reached out and touched it. I always feel like I have to be mentally prepared before touching it, whether it will be a bit impolite or whether it will attract others to watch. When I touched it, I realized that you didn't have that many viewers at all. Gu Huiyan, who didn't reveal his identity, was just an ordinary person. Everyone was busy with their own things, and no one had time to pay attention to you. You can touch it as you like. If you talk about touch, well, not much to say. Nonsense. Of course there's nothing to say. That's just a bare leg artifact. Although it is nominally for touching legs, this bare leg artifact is still thickly layered. It feels like it is just touching the fabric. It is strange that it can feel any particularly comfortable. But there is a saying. It still feels different. It is probably worn close to the thigh, so it will feel warm to the touch. If you put your hand on a girl's thigh, you will feel a little psychologically stimulated. How is it? How does it feel? Shang Zuoyan looked at Gu Huiyan with a smile. She was actually a little shy, which could be seen from her pretty face that was always red, but she tried her best to pretend to be indifferent. Maybe she felt Gu Huiyan is already straight and doesn't take the initiative. If she doesn't take the initiative, there will really be no way to play. Other couples have unlimited time to do things of varying degrees of advancement, but unfortunately her time is limited and she just wants to push as much as possible in a day. I don't feel anything. How can this feel? Gu Huiyan said hard, turned around and took a sip of milk tea without looking at Shang Zuoyan. This old man was so shy. Shang Zuoyan giggled and complained a lot about him. Those big Barbie doll-like eyes looked everywhere, not knowing what they saw, and suddenly pulled Gu Huiyan in one direction. Gu Huiyan was pulled over with a confused look on his face. Only after he passed by did he realize that it seemed to be a store similar to Miniso. The items in it were much older, including daily necessities, hats, headphones, cups, basically everything you could want. It's all here. There are some exquisite earrings, pendants, rings, etc. Shang Zuoyan always likes these weird gadgets and bought a lot of them. Gu Huiyan couldn't help but complain. It's a shame that a female star like you is interested in these gadgets that cost tens of dollars on the street. Although it's gone now, after all, Shang Zuoyan was once a top-notch female star. As a top-notch person, it's quite rare that she likes to buy these things. What are you doing? Are you reluctant to spend money on me? Shang Zuoyan pursed her lips and rolled her eyes at Gu Huiyan. It is worth mentioning that Mr. Gu paid for all the expenses when going out today. In Shang Zuoyan's words, have you ever seen girls spending money when boys and girls go out on a date? Of course, this is just a small complex. None of them are short of shopping money. Come and try this. Hey, these sunglasses are so beautiful, they suit you very well. This hat is very flattering to your face. Don't glare at me. Your gray hat is almost patinate. It's time to change it, right? At first, Gu Huiyan thought she came into the store just because she was interested, but later he found out that she wanted to buy a hat for herself. What made Gu Huiyan speechless was that she chose one pink hat. Gu Huiyan is not a straight man, nor does he look down on the color pink. He simply thinks that a grown man should not use anything related to pink. If you want to wear pink underwear on your crotch, then pretend I didn't say it. You can't see it anyway. It's a personal preference. Damn, let's show respect. As long as it is something that can be shown on the outside, a man should not have anything to do with pink, okay? Shang Zuoyan, one by one, I will help you dress up. Look at what you usually wear. Gu Huiyan said thank you, but if you dress like this, you better stop dressing up. The angry Shang Zuoyan hit him several times with a pink fist and called him a stubborn donkey. Why was he so disobedient? Finally, Shang Zuoyan said. Fortunately, I'll be your boyfriend and girlfriend for just one day. If you do it too much, I'll be so angry. Having a boyfriend like this will make you angry. Hee hee. What's funny is that there was a clerk in the store who kept watching them and said when they were paying the bill, "You are so loving." Although they were arguing all the time, they didn't quarrel in the end. Although the chirping was annoying, the laughing was very lively, and they were able to go to check out in the end. This kind of getting along with each other is quite enviable. Of course. Shang Zuoyan proudly hugged Gu Huiyan's arm and spread the dog food without any politeness. She was not afraid of being recognized. It was already noon when I came out after paying the bill. I came out early in the morning. Gu Huiyan didn't have breakfast. Now I was hungry and asked Shang Zuoyan, "Did you have breakfast this morning?" "Eat it?" Shang Zuoyan was heartless and said without caring whether it touched Gu Huiyan's heart. "I ordered takeout, didn't you eat it?" "Of course I didn't eat it." Gu Huiyan was so close to swearing. Come on, he thought Shang Zuoyan had breakfast together at about 7:30. Who knows, she actually asked Gu Huiyan to wait until after 9 o'clock. Gu Huiyan became angry when he thought of this. He couldn't help but raise his hand, pinched Shang Zuoyan's plump face with the mask on, and said, "You're so embarrassed to say you ate it, huh? Hiss, it hurts. What are you doing?" Shang Zuoyan was not a piece of meat left to be slaughtered. In pain, she picked up a pink fist and hit Gu Huiyan several times. Seeing that Gu Huiyan didn't let go, she also pinched Gu Huiyan's face. "Hiss, let go. Let go first. No, are you still reasonable? You were the one who made the first move. Whoever strikes first is at fault. Why don't you tell me why I struck?" "Well, it hurts so much. Can you please stop exerting yourself?" "No. I will fight with you." The two people were chattering on the street and almost started fighting. Fortunately, there are few people in this section, but there are more mortals. Can you believe that they were exposed in minutes? "What should we have for lunch?" "Hot pot," Gu Huiyan asked. The time has come to after 11:30 noon, which is already lunchtime. She had to drink a few cups of milk tea in the morning and eat some snacks that Shang Zuoyan bought that she didn't eat, otherwise Gu Huiyan would have been hungry early. No more. Gu Huiyan couldn't help but want to complain when he mentioned this matter. He didn't know if he was not short of money. Shang Zuoyan wanted to buy everything he saw. When he walked to the snack street, he bought a lot of food, but most of them were he took one bite and threw it to Gu Huiyan, making Gu Huiyan look like a piece of garbage. "Well, let me think about it." Shang Zuoyan held her phone and watched. In fact, it was not very easy for them to have lunch. The main reason was that there seemed to be queues for several well-known hot pot restaurants here. Not only hot pot, but also several famous small noodle shops. Hoof Flower shop also has a queue. Before coming here a few days ago, Gu Huiyan talked on the phone with a friend who had just returned from work in Chongqing and said that to eat the Shabati Den noodles, he queued for an hour to get a number, waited in line for an hour to eat, and MD had 2 bowls of noodles. When we are young, is this still called eating? It's harder to eat than begging for food, isn't it? It would be better if you go in line together as 2 people, one takes a number and the other waits for food, but it really only takes 2 hours if you go alone. There's nothing I can do, there are too many people eating. There is takeout, but when the takeout is delivered to the side, it is chewy. You know it is not authentic. There are only those famous stores here, and there are only those things that you must eat when you come here. People who come here to eat will have to suffer these sins, and there is nothing they can do about it. For Gu Huiyan and Shang Zuoyan, they have to consider not only queuing, but also the risk of identity exposure. In a place with too many people, it is easy for too many eyes to look at them. Once they are recognized, it is easy to cause problems. They have tried their best not to go to crowded places this morning, so they are not afraid of queuing for lunch. The key is you have to take off your mask when eating, right? Rumble. Before they could figure it out, the gloomy sky rumbled, and then crash. There was a loud splash, bah. The big ladle started pouring down. Wow, the rain is so heavy. Gu Huiyan didn't even understand how it could rain so heavily in January in Chongqing, MD over there. It almost only rains so heavily in summer and autumn when there was abundant rainfall. Okay, now you don't have to think about it at all. Gu Huiyan held his forehead silently, indicating that there was no need to eat this lunch. Well. The good mood all morning was disturbed by a heavy rain. Shang Zuoyan stood next to Gu Huiyan with her mouth pouted. After all, she didn't want to be unhappy on this day. Just in time, her eyes swept to the supermarket not far away, her eyes lit up, she grinned and said, "Let's go shopping in the supermarket. Maybe the rain will stop after we finish shopping." Okay. Gu Huiyan nodded in agreement, and the two of them walked a few steps to the supermarket under transparent umbrellas. There is not much to say in the supermarket. Supermarkets all over the country are the same and sell the same things. There is nothing new or rare. But Shang Zuoyan seemed very happy. She held Gu Huiyan's arm, pushed a trolley, and walked to the snack area to get several bags of potato chips, gummy candies, jelly, crispy rice, dried fruits, just snacks. It's enough for half a car. Have you finished eating? Gu Huiyan couldn't help but ask. I can't finish it for you, Shang Zuoyan replied matter-of-factly. Gu Huiyan. Yes, this trash can is secure. Shang Zuoyan is a standard modern girlfriend. If you look at her, she buys snacks, dried fruits, cakes, and drinks without even looking at the vegetable section or meat and livestock. Obviously, firewood, rice, oil, and salt do not exist in her pig brain. Occasionally, Gu Huiyan would think that if they went to the supermarket together, Sisters Island should be the exact opposite of Shang Zuoyan. Pei Jingshi's words. Forget it, she won't come to the supermarket at all. Once you get in, it's not easy to get out. You want me to carry it by myself. Finally, Gu Huiyan went out carrying 2 large bags of snacks, and his head felt heavy. Then why would you use it? Shang Zuoyan was picking up a lollipop, as if her boyfriend was a tool carrying bags. She reminded Gu Huiyan. You haven't bought clothes from me yet. If you buy clothes from me, you will know that what you are buying is just childish. Her manager Han Li has a lot of say in this. Shang Zuoyan has a very good figure. She looks pretty in almost all the good-looking clothes you can see, so when she goes shopping in the mall to buy clothes, she can basically wear them. It's described as sweeping goods. The key to the problem is that she is not picky and will not just stick to big brands. She can be seen in many small clothing stores in small shopping malls without formal brands. She just likes good-looking ones. Gu Huiyan rolled his eyes and saw Shang Zuoyan picking up lollipops, and couldn't help laughing. Can I eat it if I chop it? What do you call this? It must be edible. Shang Zuoyan didn't react at first, but she finally figured it out halfway through. She was wearing a mask, so how could she eat a lollipop? You have to take off your mask to eat a lollipop. If you take off your mask, you will be easily recognized, which can lead to trouble. In an instant, her beautiful mood was ruined by Gu Huiyan. She frowned and ran to Gu Huiyan with a look of disgust on her face, punched him several times and said, "It's all your fault," countless times. No. It's my fault. Are you making sense? Gu Huiyan has 1 head and 2 heads. I want to say that you didn't think about it before eating the lollipop. I kindly reminded you that you blame me instead. Is there any royal law in this world? Do you still have laws in your eyes? The 2 of them were fighting all the way out of the supermarket. Unfortunately, it was still raining, which made Shang Zuoyan not in a good mood. They would definitely be able to eat this lunch, but they were afraid of going to those famous restaurants. It's difficult. Let's eat whatever we want on the roadside. Shang Zuoyan is not too happy. So I simply decided to go back to the hotel and order takeout. 2 celebrities are eating takeout in a hotel. It's really. Gu Huiyan smiled bitterly and said that if this matter could be exposed, it would definitely contribute a lot of system points to him. Shang Zuoyan also giggled and said that there was no way. They were both alone and did not bring an assistant or any staff. If they did, the assistant could help queue up. So Gu Huiyan followed Shang Zuoyan back to the hotel where she was staying. She was staying in a 5-star hotel nearby. Shang Zuoyan was not short of money and was used to spending a lot of money. If she wanted to choose a hotel by herself, just choose the best one in the area. No need to make a choice. The room is on a very high floor, the 42nd floor. It is a 2-story suite with a bed above and a living room below. Floor-to-ceiling windows are of course standard, and many of them are suites with views. It is worth mentioning that there is a big bathtub by the window. Gu Huiyan felt that the bathtub was big enough for 3 or 4 people to lie down. It was an exaggeration. Of course the room was nice, but Shang Zuoyan's arrangement was not very neat. Gu Huiyan saw a lot of her clothes thrown on the sofa and the floor. It's definitely not dirty, but if it is thrown everywhere, it seems that the room is not very tidy. Huh, it's so cold. You can sit down wherever you want. I have to take off my shoes first. Shang Zuoyan turned on the air conditioner, threw down her things and went upstairs. After putting down her things, the virtuous Gu Huiyan couldn't bear to see the room being so messy, so he simply collected her clothes for her. However, before Gu Huiyan could collect the 2 items, he heard Shang Zuoyan's voice coming from upstairs. Gu Huiyan, come and help me. What's wrong? Gu Huiyan asked. My shoes. Shang Zuoyan's voice was a little ashamed, but she didn't seem to be able to say no. She said, I can't take off my shoes. She is wearing a pair of white boots today. To be honest, this kind of thing is really useless. It is also a proper IQ tax. It is difficult to wear it and take it off. It will make your bladder smell after wearing it for a long time. The most important thing is, if you wear this to the airport, people will ask you to take it off in public when you go through the security check. Charlene Shang once wore this thing to the airport, but was asked to take off her shoes in public. Wow, that time was even on the hot search. Why can't I take it off yet? Gu Huiyan was still wondering when she went upstairs. Her boots were laced, not pushed in directly. It shouldn't be that difficult to untie the shoelaces, right? Do you need help? When he went up to take a look, Gu Huiyan silently held his forehead. I can't help but complain. You are so lazy. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Xuan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 322. Chapter 317 is a bit too sexy. Many people don't like to untie their shoelaces when putting on and taking off their shoes. Although they can easily put on their shoes by untying them, they always don't want to do it because they are too lazy. Do you watch Shang Zuoyan? Her boots could be easily taken off by untying the laces, but she insisted on pulling them hard. I couldn't pull it off after a long time, and even got my foot stuck in it. When Gu Huiyan went upstairs, what he saw was her sitting on the edge of the bed wearing only a sweater, pulling hard on the boot that was stuck on her right foot, but she couldn't pull it off. The funniest thing is that when she called Gu Huiyan over, she didn't ask him to help her to untie her shoelaces, but, help me pull it, quick. No, are you sure it's dragging? Gu Huiyan was very happy. Didn't this woman have the option of untying her shoelaces in her mind? Ah, why are you still standing there? Come and help quickly. Shang Zuoyan urged. Okay. Gu Huiyan shook his head helplessly and walked over. At this time, Shang Zuoyan was sitting on the edge of the bed, asking Gu Huiyan to pull her boots, so she had one leg crossed. Even though the damn bare-legged artifact was still on her body at this time, when she crossed her legs and gave it to Gu Huiyan, there was still a strong visual stimulation. To be honest, our posture is a bit. Gu Huiyan couldn't help but tease her when he put his hand on her boots. Is now the time to talk about this? Shang Zuoyan's pretty face turned red, and she wanted to scold Gu Huiyan a few words, but when the words came to her mouth, she suddenly felt that scolding had no meaning, and it was better to tease this old man. So she acted like a shy little woman, winked at Gu Huiyan, and said very affectionately, "You help me take off my shoes, and I can do whatever I want." Roll. Gu Huiyan rolled his eyes and pushed hard with the hand holding her shoes. Ah! Shang Zuoyan pushed her directly onto the bed. Gu Huiyan. The angry Shang Zuoyan grabbed Gu Huiyan and beat her up a lot, saying that you, a stinky straight man, really don't understand emotions. After the laughter, Gu Huiyan officially helped Shang Zuoyan pull out her boots. "I'm here. I'm really here. Come on, I'm ready. Here we come. Just come here. Why don't you help me take off my boots? Why are you saying something so easy for people to misunderstand? Cough. Gu Huiyan blushed and felt very happy. He began to help Shang Zuoyan pull her boots hard. As a result, Shang Zuoyan still said, "Oh, please try harder. Have you not eaten? Why don't you have any strength? Where did you exert your force? I didn't even feel it." Gu Huiyan was so sweaty that he couldn't help complaining. What I'm saying is, which one of us said something that would be easily misunderstood? Compared with Shang Zuoyan, what Gu Huiyan said just now is childish. Pook. Shang Zuoyan lightly covered her red lips with her beautiful hands, giggling. Her pretty face was red and she gave Gu Huiyan a white look and said, "Who told you not to use your strength? Isn't this because I'm afraid it will hurt you?" Gu Huiyan responded with a backhand shot. "Hey you!" Shang Zuoyan's big eyes widened on the spot, and she pointed at Gu Huiyan with a red face, wondering when did you become so good at coloring? Or is it that this old six has always been like this, but she just didn't understand it? However, before she could confront Gu Huiyan suddenly started to use force. "Ah!" Shang Zuoyan screamed. "No, no. Stop it. Pain. You're trying too hard." Gu Huiyan suddenly pulled her boots with great force, her feet were stuck, and her feet were deformed by such tugging. "Didn't you ask me to use force?" Gu Huiyan rolled his eyes and said. "By the way, I haven't eaten since morning. It's good to have all this strength. It's like I don't want to feed you less." Shang Zuoyan rolled her eyes, muttered, and glared at Gu Huiyan. She looked at the shoes that had not yet been taken off, and couldn't help but pout with a puzzled look on her face. How to take it off? Actually, if you bear with it, it will be over soon. Gu Huiyan was still fanning the flames there. Roll. Shang Zuoyan blushed and grabbed a pillow and threw it at Gu Huiyan. If she hadn't taken off her shoes and needed to use this old man, she would have deep-fried him. What should I do? In the end, she had no choice but to have a headache. Gu Huiyan, the dog-headed military advisor, gave his advice. "It's easy to handle. Do you have any idea?" Shang Zuoyan's eyes lit up. "Just saw it off," Gu Huiyan replied. "You are such a human being, Gu Huiyan." Shang Zuoyan rolled her eyes to the sky. Although these boots were very smart and difficult to put on and take off, they really looked good and flattered her legs. She liked them very much. "How can it be sawed off?" "There's nothing you can do about it, just wear it." Gu Huiyan was still teasing her. It wasn't until Shang Zuoyan collapsed that he shook his head, smiled, and sat next to Shang Zuoyan. "Bring the legs," he said. "Shang Zuoyan, what are you thinking about?" She grabbed another pillow and beat Gu Huiyan several times, blushing and saying, "Is now the time to do this kind of thing? You should take off my shoes first." "I'm just taking off your shoes, what do you think?" Gu Huiyan didn't grab the pillow. Instead, he accurately grabbed Shang Zuoyan's baby fat face in the crowd of chaos. "Well." Shang Zuoyan wrinkled her nose, then reluctantly crossed her legs and placed them on Gu Huiyan's knees. She saw Gu Huiyan staring at her eyes and unhurriedly untying the laces on her shoes with his hands. "Oh, God, I forgot." Shang Zuoyan was so stupid by herself that she actually thought of these shoes as a compliment. She didn't even think of untying the shoelaces for a long time. At that moment, she really felt that she was so stupid, but the way Gu Huiyan looked at her was full of "Are you a pig" brain. This made Shang Zuoyan feel ironic. "Take off your shoes and see what I do." She carried the pillow to hit Gu Huiyan again. "No, you hit me when I take off your shoes." Gu Huiyan couldn't stand this arrogance. Shang Zuoyan was sitting on his left side, with a slender and round jade leg placed on his knee. However, When he saw him, he lifted up Shang Zuoyan's leg and pulled it. She pushed her down on the bed. Ah! Shang Zuoyan exclaimed, never thought that Gu Huiyan would dare to bully her like this. One thing to say, after all, Shang Zuoyan has been practicing dancing all year round. The toughness of Shang Zuoyan's body is really not to be boasted. Gu Huiyan directly pressed her legs to the position of her shoulders and head. This is the same as a horse. If it is an ordinary person, the ligaments are not good. The kind that must be crying and shouting that it hurts. But Shang Zuoyan just screamed in surprise and didn't even cry out in pain. Gu Huiyan kept pressing her legs to her shoulders, crushing Xiang Er, but she didn't even cry out in pain. Of course, just because it doesn't hurt, doesn't mean that you're not shy or ashamed. What are you doing? Quick, let go of me. Shang Zuoyan blushed to the base of her ears. Please, this posture is too ambiguous. Although it was a joke, her legs were held by that guy and pressed down here. The key is that she can't move, as if she's tied up. That feeling is so shameful. Are you still hitting me? Gu Huiyan asked with a smile. No. No more fighting. Shang Zuoyan still knew how to assess the situation, and she immediately begged for mercy. Isn't it okay if I don't fight? I'll thank you very much. I'll give you something delicious to reward you later. Quickly, let me go quickly, You are really that little loser. Gu Huiyan laughed and let go of her. She was so cute and playful. Shang Zuoyan blushed and rolled her eyes, thinking that if it hadn't been so useful, your mother would have chopped you alive. After sitting up, Gu Huiyan stopped teasing her, but patiently helped her loosen all the laces of her shoes, and finally took them off. Laugh. Sitting next to Gu Huiyan, looking at Gu Huiyan who was patiently untying her shoelaces, Shang Zuoyan felt a sweetness from the bottom of her heart. At this moment, she felt as if she had eaten the sweetest candy in the world. It was very sweet. Happy. At this moment, she felt that Gu Huiyan belonged to her, and the sweetness made her forget that she was about to leave. Look. All she could think of was picking up her phone. Kaka, kaka. One photo after another of Gu Huiyan. Don't consider memory at all. She thought that if she posted these pictures on WeChat Moments, the copy would definitely be. Falling is when someone spoils you like a child. Of course, she won't send it. She just wanted to take a photo and keep it as a souvenir. She thought she would always remember the sweetness of this moment and reminisce about it every time she looked at these photos. Gu Huiyan must have noticed it, but Gu Huiyan didn't say anything. He just lowered his head to help her untie her shoelaces and didn't care about anything else. In fact, he did give up a lot of things today. Shang Zuoyan likes to take photos. She took a lot of photos when she went shopping this morning, many of which were photos with Gu Huiyan. Now there are photos on her phone of them eating together, photos of them holding an umbrella together, photos of them visiting the supermarket together. Anyway, there are various group photos. But Shang Zuoyan still felt that it was not enough. Even if Gu Huiyan helped her take off her shoes, she still wanted to keep a photo of the two of them together. It is worth mentioning that after Gu Huiyan helped him take off his shoes, she didn't know if it was a joke or not, but she grabbed some edges of her bare leg artifact, winked at Gu Huiyan and said to Gu Huiyan, "You've already taken off your shoes. Let me help you take them off too." Ah. Gu Huiyan had a shocked expression at that time, saying that this wealth was a bit too great and could easily be smashed to death by me. Ha ha. Shang Zuoyan laughed so hard that she said she was teasing you. What a beautiful idea. Gu Huiyan was just about to breathe a sigh of relief. Who knew that this woman suddenly stood up, and then in front of Gu Huiyan, she put her hands into the hem of the long sweater, around her waist, and then... Aha! In a moment, the bare leg artifact was lowered to the position below the thigh. Hiss. To be honest, Gu Huiyan felt an urge to have a nosebleed at that moment. Come on, That picture is really gorgeous. The color of the bare leg artifact she took off was the same color as her legs. Gu Huiyan originally thought it was the same color, but after taking it off and layering it, he realized that it was completely different. Shang Zuoyan's legs will be whiter and more tender, and the white part of her thigh will even turn blue. Just because of the color contrast of the bare legs artifact, you will feel that those legs are more attractive. To be honest, Gu Huiyan is no longer a child. It is not that he has never seen beautiful women, let alone experienced sexy scenes. But the problem is that Shang Zuoyan is a bit. Isn't it too sexy? To be honest, Gu Huiyan seemed to have never seen a girl take off her clothes in front of him. Especially when taking off this bare leg artifact that looks like stockings. In that scene, even if you exchanged the mighty Tianlong Niafahe for him, he would still have to squirt 2 pounds of nosebleeds before leaving. Laugh. Seeing Gu Huiyan's reaction, Shang Zuoyan showed a scheming smile, then sat down gently, then crossed her legs, teasing Gu Huiyan and said, "How's it going? Do you want to take it off?" As soon as Gu Huiyan stretched out his hand, before he even said he thought about it, Shang Zuoyan immediately retracted it, shaking his head, sticking out his tongue and making a face, as if he was so angry that he wouldn't pay for his life, and said word by word, "No. Give. You. Take it off." With that said, she turned around and took off the bare leg artifact. "You." To be honest, Gu Huiyan really wanted to give Shang Zuoyan a hard beating. But soon, Shang Zuoyan actually laughed, and then threw the pair of bare leg artifacts that she took off to him. "I go." Gu Huiyan was shocked. To be honest, something like pantyhose was a first for Gu Huiyan when he grew so big. Smelly pervert. Shang Zuoyan did not forget to tease Gu Huiyan, but who knew that Gu Huiyan threw it aside casually, then made a disgusted expression, and Gu Zi muttered, "Sure enough, my bladder smells bad." "What did you say?" Shang Zuoyan's big eyes widened on the spot, and her eyes widened with anger. She pointed at Gu Huiyan with a green jade finger and said, "You have the guts to say that again. Are you serious when you say girls have smelly feet?" "I didn't say anything, I went to wash my hands." Gu Huiyan didn't say anything, waved his hand and didn't dare to touch anything, so he just swished downstairs. "Stop." Shang Zuoyan threw down her phone and gritted her teeth and rushed out. Just now, her shoes were stuck on her feet and she couldn't chase Gu Huiyan. Now that her feet were bare, she couldn't settle the score with Gu Huiyan. "I advise you not to touch me." You have to touch it, right?" "Yeah." Gu Huiyan refused to change despite repeated admonitions, and directly pressed the hand that had just touched her pantyhose feet on Shang Zuoyan's face. "Yeah. What are you doing?" What's funny is that Shang Zuoyan also dislikes it. Gu Huiyan is happy. "Look, you said your feet don't smell bad. I touched you after touching your socks. Don't be dissatisfied if you have the ability." "Me." Shang Zuoyan was helpless to argue, but she was also very angry. "Ouch. I'll fight you." In the end, he could only vent his anger on Gu Huiyan and fight to the death with him. To be honest, the soundproofing effect of the hotel here is very good, otherwise people from upstairs, downstairs or next door would definitely come here. Pattering. Gu Huiyan must have gone straight to the bathroom to wash his hands after going downstairs. But what he didn't expect was that as soon as he washed his hands and came out, he saw Shang Zuoyan standing in the bathtub by the window on the first floor with bare legs and feet. "Release the water." Crash. Warm water keeps pouring out of the faucet, and the water flow is very large, so it drains very quickly. It was cloudy outside, and the room seemed a bit gloomy. The bright lights would be very conspicuous, and there happened to be ambient lights around the bath. Shang Zuoyan turned them on, and the scene of water slowly accumulating from the edge of the transparent bath was inexplicably pretty. Shang Zuoyan seemed to be in a good mood, humming a song and not forgetting to throw some flower petals into the bath. The air conditioning was on in the room, which was very warm but a bit humid. The climate here was like this. At this time, Shang Zuoyan took off her thick bare leg artifacts and boots. Her beautiful legs were not even covered with slippers. The light from the window would occasionally hit her legs. Wow, that scene! Not to mention how eye-catching it is. Gu Huiyan often couldn't help but sigh, who invented the missing shirt style. Look at Shang Zuoyan, she is wearing a pink sweater that covers her buttocks, and her lower body and two jade legs are exposed like this. It really feels like there is a vacuum underneath. What are you doing? Gu Huiyan's mouth twitched and he went over to ask curiously. Take a bath, what else can you do? Shang Zuoyan threw flower petals into the bathtub, pouted her little mouth and said with a proud face. Didn't someone say my feet smell bad? Of course I need to wash them well. Why do you take a bath in broad daylight? Gu Huiyan couldn't help but complain. Who said you can't take a bath in broad daylight? Shang Zuoyan pouted her little mouth. Not only did she not feel anything was wrong, she also raised her jade hand and grabbed Gu Huiyan's collar and said teasingly. Do you dare to swim with me? The light by the window seemed a bit bright, they did not draw the curtains, and the rainy scene of Chongqing was right in front of them. Although it was noon, it looked like night because it was raining outside and the sky was gloomy. The light illuminated Shang Zuoyan's pretty, doll-like face, covering up a little of her blush, but the shyness in her big, watery eyes and the nervousness revealed by the slightly trembling eyelashes could not be concealed at all. Obviously, doing this kind of thing is far less ordinary than she thought. Even if I don't dare, you will try your best to make me dare, right? Gu Huiyan rarely refused directly. Shang Zuoyan smiled after hearing this and said. You've seen how big this bath is. Just treat it like we're soaking in a hot spring together. I bought you a pair of men's swimming trunks. I won't let you get naked and neither will I brought a bikini. This time, Shang Zuoyan was really measured. She was indeed pulling Gu Huiyan around to satisfy her last little wishes, but at the same time, she fully considered Gu Huiyan's feelings. Crotch ran, this way, there would be no room for Gu Huiyan to refuse. At this moment, she had thought about what Gu Huiyan would say, whether he would refuse or hesitate, but she never thought that this old man would grin and say jokingly. Are the swimming trunks you bought big enough? I have something to go out in the morning, please take a day off at noon, sorry brothers. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 323. Shang Zuoyan blushed, pushed Gu Huiyan, suppressed her laughter and went upstairs to change clothes. When we first recorded Hello Life Partner, many viewers said that the most regrettable thing was not seeing Shang Zuoyan wearing a bikini. Many people really felt this. There is no way, her figure is too good, and the two Seong Dakshan brothers are too good. No LSP can refuse such a figure. This is for you. Shang Zuoyan threw a pair of swimming trunks to Gu Huiyan. To be honest, Gu Huiyan never thought that he would take off his clothes today. It is worth mentioning that these swimming trunks. Well, it's a bit small indeed. You bought the swimming trunks according to your size, right? Gu Huiyan couldn't help but complain to Shang Zuoyan downstairs. I've never bought anything like this for a boy, how do I know what size it is? Some shy voices came down from upstairs, and there were also some rustling sounds of people taking off their clothes, which made people think wildly for a while. Ahem. After a while, Shang Zuoyan came down from upstairs. She was indeed shy, and her pretty doll-like face was as red as a red apple, but she was always generous and never conservative. When he came down, he coughed twice to remind Gu Huiyan. When Gu Huiyan turned his head and looked over, even he couldn't help but swallow his saliva. Gilug. It was a blue and white cloud-colored bikini with lace edges. Gu Huiyan dared to say that it was a genuine bikini, which meant that it must have exposed a lot. Shang Xueyan had such a proud figure, and this bikini just made her proud. All the dots are protruding. I won't describe the details, it's easy to put it out, but in short, it's very fragrant. Gu Huiyan thought the scene would be sexy, but he didn't expect it to be so sexy. At this moment, Gu Huiyan was just a man, the most primitive man. Look, what are you looking at? My eyes are almost growing on me. Shang Xueyan glared at him with her little mouth pouted, and quickly pulled her long black hair to cover some of the skin on her upper body's shoulders and collarbone, trying to cover it as much as possible and give herself some buffer time. To be honest, she was just teasing Gu Huiyan about taking a bath together. She had no intention of actually taking a bath together at first. She did prepare swimming trunks, but she didn't think he would agree. But who knew that what Gu Huiyan promised would be such a joy? This time, she turned into a little lamb. The legs are really blue, not, well, that, the swimsuit is really white. Gu Huiyan chuckled, and Shang Xueyan was so embarrassed that she went over and hit him several times with a pink fist. It is worth mentioning that when dodging the hammer, Gu Huiyan occasionally felt that Shang Xueyan touched his stomach a few times. Hey, are you taking advantage of me? Gu Huiyan wanted to say that I didn't take advantage of you, but you took advantage of me? Are you talking? Hello. Who took advantage of you? Shang Xueyan was about to collapse, her face turned red as if she was about to bleed. In fact, it was not because she wanted to touch her. The main reason was that Gu Huiyan, the old man, usually exercised, so he had some abdominal muscles. After seeing this, Shang Xueyan couldn't help but just wanted to touch it. I usually watch videos of those muscular men, which makes me drool. I have never touched them before, and I don't know what it feels like. The water has been put away, I'll go first. Afraid that Gu Huiyan would continue to chase her, she hurriedly ran to the bathtub on the pretext that the water was put away. In the bathtub, the warm water was ready for soaking. Shang Xueyan did not throw a bath ball, but just threw in some rose petals, making the whole bathhouse look very atmospheric. The ambient lights that constantly change colors add to the atmosphere all the time, and the room slowly becomes a little ambiguous. Crash. It was still raining heavily outside the window. Because it was very cold, Shang Xueyan closed the window. It's cold outside and hot in the room, so it's easy for the glass to fog up. Before Gu Huiyan and Shang Xueyan entered the bath, a layer of fog filled the windows. A very funny scene is that before entering the bathhouse, these two kings of oral pleasure can joke with each other. Once they enter, the two of them didn't know what was going on. They were sitting on one side of the bathtub. Neither of them spoke, and they didn't dare to look at each other. If they occasionally looked at each other, they would immediately avoid it. Cough. Not sure if he felt embarrassed, Gu Huiyan coughed lightly and said, the water temperature is just right. Well, just right. Shang Xueyan tilted her head and nodded. It is worth mentioning that because she had to take a bath and was afraid of getting her hair wet, Shang Xueyan specially tied her hair up at the back of her head with two super kawaii buns. With her head tilted to one side and her face red and shy, coupled with the cute look of her round head, and her proud figure under the bikini. This picture. Even when Sakyamuni came, he had to spray 2 pounds of nosebleeds before leaving. 5-star General MacArthur said that he had never seen such a charming woman before. And you want to ask Gu Huiyan what words are in his mind? Those are probably the words of Uncle Lu Huang. You've been fighting for a lifetime and you're not allowed to enjoy it anymore. Keep playing music, keep dancing. This picture. It's such a luxury. It's just that these two people are a little too shy and can't let go, otherwise it will be more exciting. Most people will not stop and watch the scene slowly, but fast forward directly. It is worth mentioning that, I don't know if she had her hair tied up in a bun, and without her hair hanging loose to help cover her skin, Shang Xuan actually raised her hands and crossed them on her shoulders, as if to cover something. No, are you so worried about me? Gu Huiyan was so angry. This little bastard looked like something before taking a bath. Why was he so embarrassed when he got into the swimming pool? No. Shang Xuan pouted her little mouth and muttered, and Gu Huiyan could see the masseter muscles on the side of her face moving. She probably gritted her teeth, and then she put her hand down resolutely. In an instant, the two Xiong brothers, carrying only a fig leaf, presented themselves to Gu Huiyan without reservation. This time it was Lao Liu's turn to be shy. He subconsciously turned his gaze away and looked elsewhere. Pook. He was embarrassed, so naturally it was Shang Xuan's turn to laugh. She joked. Why are you so far away from me and you don't even dare to look at me? No, the main thing is this, can we lean on this side? Gu Huiyan made excuses. Shang Xuan gave him a charming look. The water temperature in the bath was a bit high and they were both a little hot, but even so, Shang Xuan still wanted to hug each other for warmth with Gu Huiyan. Do you dare to hug me? Although her face was red and shy, Shang Xuan still asked after a strong psychological struggle. Ah. Gu Huiyan scratched his head and said. Is this appropriate? What? Don't you dare, Shang Xuan teased. What's wrong with this? Gu Huiyan's forehead was covered with black lines, but he let the words out. He had no picture in his mind of what to do. He just half crouched in a daze and moved towards Shang Xuan. The moving speed is too slow. Shang Xuan even laughed. Perhaps because Gu Huiyan's bending action was too funny, the awkward atmosphere was diluted a lot for a while. After Shang Xuan came over, she took the initiative to hug him. At that moment, the two people's hearts trembled in unison. It was really a tremor. The feeling is so obvious and intense. To be honest, Gu Huiyan and Shang Xuan had not hugged before, or even hugged a lot, but they were always wearing clothes. A hug with clothes on, and a hug with skin-to-skin contact and close contact are two completely different levels, right? The difference is huge. You can most intuitively feel the touch and temperature of other people's skin. Although it is not silky because there is water in the bath, that feeling deeply stimulates their souls. Somehow, the two people actually looked at each other. 3, 2, 1. Some people say that two people who like each other cannot look at each other for more than 3 seconds, otherwise they will kiss each other. Now, Gu Huiyan and Shang Xuan looked at each other in silence for more than 3 seconds. Then, just like that, the distance between the two people who were stunned was slowly drawn closer. At this moment, no one is more proactive. Their initiative is average and balanced. They are all moving closer to each other's mouths. That kiss was wet and sweet, accompanied by blushing, shyness, and all the stories they shared along the way. Do not know why. A tear suddenly fell from the corner of Shang Xuan's eyes. Boom. Along the cheek, it just fell into the bathtub, making a sound that was not loud in decibels. And that drop of tear was perfectly captured by Gu Huiyan and interrupted their next move. Why are you crying? Gu Huiyan was not far away from Shang Xuan, and they could still feel each other's breath when their lips parted. He raised his hand to wipe away the tears on Shang Xuan's cheeks and asked with a frown. Is there any? Shang Xuan rubbed her face. She didn't remove her makeup, and a few tears wouldn't make it go away, but it was true that there was some heat in the bath, and makeup would easily wear off if she sweated. Put on my makeup, I'm going to put on my makeup. Although he knew that Gu Huiyan might call him a little loser, Shang Xuan still got up and walked away at a speed that could be described as running away. After a while, her voice came from upstairs. I've soaked it. You can soak it for a while, wipe it off and get dressed before calling me. I'm going to order takeout. What do you want to eat? I don't care. Gu Huiyan replied casually that he didn't care about what he ate, he could eat anything. But if you say this, do you think she will call him a straight man? So Gu Huiyan added another sentence. Whatever you want to eat, just give it to me if you can't finish it. Shang Zuoyan's laughter came from upstairs, and she said. Why do you think you're like a trash can? You know best whether you have done that yourself. Gu Huiyan gave her a big eye roll. Shang Zuoyan said I didn't, and refused to admit it at all. Gu Huiyan didn't bother to argue with her. He was busy with a concert recently and he hadn't taken a bath for a while. He finally lay down in the bath with just the right temperature. He really didn't want to waste the water. Okay, I soaked it for a while longer. My body gradually relaxed. People tend to get sleepy when they are relaxing. It happens to be early noon and it is raining outside. You are lying in the bathtub and soaking. How can you not get sleepy if you are so comfortable? Aha! Gu Huiyan was yawning. He originally wanted to take a nap, but after a while he could hear Shang Zuoyan's chirping voice coming from upstairs. What should we eat? Get some Sichuan food to eat? Suck, this hoof flour looks so delicious, but won't it be greasy and oily? Ah, I also want to eat mixed noodles. Want to order 2 drinks too? She talks a lot. So noisy. Every time Gu Huiyan was about to fall asleep, he heard her chirping voice. She didn't often call Gu Huiyan, she just talked to herself. In the end, Gu Huiyan couldn't bear it anymore and said to her. Shang Zuoyan, can you please stop barking? You're just trying to keep quiet. Gu Huiyan. An angry Shang Zuoyan scolded Gu Huiyan for a long time upstairs. She didn't like hearing the sentence, but Gu Huiyan always liked to say it. Gu Huiyan looked helpless. Hey, now he couldn't sleep at all. Lying in the bathtub, looking at the rainy scene outside the window, listening to Shang Zuoyan's chirping in the room, for a moment, Gu Huiyan felt that this was good. The takeaway arrived quickly, and when it almost arrived, Gu Huiyan wiped himself clean and came out of the bath. It's just that he didn't rush to get dressed. Instead, he wrapped himself in a bath towel and his upper body was shirtless. Why don't you wear clothes? Shang Zuoyan blushed after seeing it. Gu Huiyan was not ashamed but said with a smile. Isn't someone willing to take advantage of others? Isn't this inconvenient for her? Who took advantage of you? The angry Shang Zuoyan punched him again. In fact, Shang Zuoyan was easily satisfied. Although they could only eat takeout in the hotel because of the rain today, she didn't choose at all and the food was delicious. The frustrating thing is that I said before that I didn't treat Gu Huiyan as a trash can, but I ordered a lot of food, but didn't eat much. I just took one bite, and finally gave the rest to Gu Huiyan. Belch. In the end, Gu Huiyan couldn't show off anymore. This woman not only ordered food but also ordered a side. Fortunately, she ordered one side. Ordering too much would give Gu Huiyan a headache. Speaking of Gu Huiyan, I don't know if it's a habit he's developed since he was a child. He seldom has leftover food and eats as much as he can. The leftover food will subconsciously make him think, isn't this a waste, so don't look at it. Zuoyan ordered so many, and he showed off them all. Despite holding on, nothing was left. Ah, I haven't had enough of that noodle yet. The funny thing is, just as Gu Huiyan finished showing off his portion of miscellaneous sauce noodles with a stretched belly, Shang Zuoyan, who had just said he couldn't eat anymore, wanted to eat again. Still arguing with Gu Huiyan. It's all your fault. Who made you eat so fast? Just like a little kid. The corner of Gu Huiyan's mouth twitched, and he picked at his throat and said to her. How about I spit it out to you? You are so disgusting. the little fist fight will definitely be accompanied by another meal. Would you like to order another one? Shang Xuan said. If you can eat it, just order it. I can't take a bite anyway. Gu Huiyan now feels that he can reach his full capacity every time he moves. Well, Shang Xuan had no choice but to sit there and sulk, complaining many times that Gu Huiyan ate too fast and ate everything she wanted to eat. Gu Huiyan had no choice but to happen to see the snacks he bought in the supermarket that morning, so he gave her a few bags of potato chips to try to divert her attention. Eat some potato chips, I'll take you to hot pot tonight. No matter how heavy the rain is, the hot pot meal tonight is unavoidable. After all, they have an appointment in Chongqing, and the purpose is to let Shang Xuan have a hot pot meal before leaving. Facts have proved that Gu Huiyan's diverting attention tactic is very successful. Shang Xuan still likes potato chips and cakes, but she can't change her stinky habit of always throwing it away after one bite. Gu Huiyan has a headache just looking at it. I'm so full that I can't walk, but I can't show off the potato chip cake. He couldn't help but complain and said. It's really easy to gain weight when you have a boyfriend. Pook. This statement successfully made Shang Xuan laugh. She raised a green jade finger and poked Gu Huiyan's face and said. Who asked you to live so diligently and frugally? This is a good virtue of our Chinese nation. There is nothing wrong with it, right? Who said there's something wrong? But don't blame me for being fat. I finally understand why you female celebrities can't gain weight no matter how much you eat. Gu Huiyanzhen said that if you eat just one bite of everything and are not afraid of wasting it, you will indeed not gain weight. Many people are fat because they are really afraid of waste. Let's find a movie to watch. Sitting on the sofa in the living room, Shang Xuan was wearing a rainbow-colored skirt after taking a bath. She was not afraid of the cold and sat on the carpet with her bare legs. It is worth mentioning that Gu Huiyan was sitting next to her, and she said she was looking for the remote control, but in the end she put her hand on Gu Huiyan's stomach many times, and it was only natural that she touched it a few times. Are you looking for a movie to watch? Gu Huiyan said. I was too embarrassed to expose you. Of course I'm looking for a movie to watch. If you turn it on, the remote control must be pressed under your butt. Shang Xuan lowered her head without even looking at Gu Huiyan, pretending not to understand Gu Huiyan's hint, touching, and continued to touching as much as she wanted. If you do this again, I will learn from you. This female hooligan really made Gu Huiyan extremely helpless. What are you learning from me? What are you talking about? Shang Xuan didn't understand what Gu Huiyan said at first, until Gu Huiyan quickly raised his hand and put his hand on her waist and scratched it a few times. Ah! Aha, it's so ticklish. What are you doing? Ah! Don't touch it. Oh, I'm wrong, isn't it okay? Ahaha, I was wrong, I was so wrong. In the end, she was pinned down on the sofa by Gu Huiyan and scratched her for a long time before she finally found the remote control while begging for mercy. While laughing and joking, Shang Xuan could feel a kind of happiness and sweetness that came from her heart. Sometimes she couldn't help but think, if this kind of sweetness could be available anytime, anywhere, every day, she could have it whenever she wanted. That would be great. If you don't have to leave. How wonderful it would be. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 324. Shang Xuan chose a love movie. Of course, it is a pure love movie that does not contain any action. It is a more literary type. It is from abroad and is said to be quite famous. She was sitting on the stall because she probably felt the ground was too cold, so she lay down on the sofa instead. Shang Xuan, who had just taken a bath, smelled delicious. Even if she didn't wear any perfume, there was always a scent that penetrated Gu Huiyan's nose. It is worth mentioning that this woman did not know whether she put her legs in Gu Huiyan's direction intentionally or not. She was still wearing the pink mid-length sweater with her bare legs. Gu Huiyan always asked her if she wasn't cold, and she would say that the air conditioner was on in the room. Why was it cold? Of course, she would also imitate Gu Huiyan and say, "This will also make it easier for someone to take advantage of you." At those times, she would receive a roll of eyes from Gu Huiyan. Of course, a roll of the eyes would be a roll of the eyes. It would be outrageous to say that Gu Huiyan was really not taking advantage of her. He didn't follow Shang Zuoyan's example and found excuses to find the remote control. He just hugged those beautiful legs and played with them. Hello. In the end, Shang Zuoyan was so embarrassed to touch her. How could it be so blatant? Then Gu Huiyan would say, "Didn't you say it was convenient for me to take advantage of you? Oh, you asked me to take advantage of you, and you also said that I was blatant? You stinking scoundrel." In the end, Shang Zuoyan would always be helpless and call him a rogue. This guy was really a rogue when he was shameless. Well, maybe there was nothing she could do about him. Shang Zuoyan was always so angry, her cheeks bulging out really looked like a pufferfish. Caca. Gu Huiyan showed off his potato chips while watching the movie. He was very engrossed in watching the movie. He occasionally played with Shang Zuoyan's legs, which seemed extremely comfortable. This made Shang Zuoyan very unhappy and always wanted to take revenge on him. Just because she had been sitting on the ground, her feet were very cold. She wanted to find a blanket to cover her, but it was not too late, right? Laugh. A bad thought appeared in Shang Zuoyan's mind. She smiled evilly, and then carefully observed Gu Huiyan for a while he was staring at the TV with relish. Rush over. He lifted up Gu Huiyan's sweater. The moment Gu Huiyan's belly was exposed, Shang Zuoyan pressed her fragrant and cold jade feet onto Gu Huiyan's belly without hesitation. Walk, hiss. At that time, Gu Huiyan almost jumped up. Hey, it's really cold. Come on, people's bodies are very sensitive in winter. Who can bear the stimulation of two cold little feet suddenly coming in on such a warm belly? Hee hee, ha ha ha, ah ha ha ha. Shang Zuoyan laughed loudly and seemed very proud, saying that this party had finally returned with revenge. You like to put your feet around, right? Gu Huiyan's mouth twitched and then he grabbed Shang Zuoyan's ankle. The reason why he didn't want to touch these feet before was because Shang Zuoyan wore long boots. Regardless of whether his bladder was smelly or not, the feeling was different. Now that it's been cleaned anyway, the so-called internal mysophobia has disappeared, so Gu Huiyan can play with these jade feet without restraint. When he grabbed Shang Zuoyan's ankle, he stretched out his other hand without hesitation and placed it on the sole of her foot. Scratch. No effort, just scratching. Ah. Oops. Ahaha, itchy. It's so itchy. Oh, stop it, let go, let go. I was wrong, I'm sorry, it's so itchy, please don't. Aha, what are you doing? Shang Zuoyan struggled fiercely. How could she have thought that when she stretched out her foot, she would fall into Gu Huiyan's trap instead? What's worth mentioning is that even though she tried very hard, Gu Huiyan was holding onto her ankle tightly, making it impossible for her to break free no matter what. She could only apologize again and again, feeling humble and ashamed. Are you still making trouble? Finally, Gu Huiyan asked her while pulling her ankle. No. Just stop making trouble. Shang Zuoyan pursed her lips with an aggrieved look on her face, wondering how anyone could be so forceful to his girlfriend and insist on asking for an apology. Smelly straight man. However, before she could say the words smelly straight man, Gu Huiyan smiled helplessly, and then put her feet back on his belly. He didn't mind the coldness of his feet, so he let them stick to his warm belly, and then gently covered them with the lifted sweater. Oh you! At that moment, To be honest, Shang Zuoyan almost cried. That's definitely not crying out of sadness, but really crying out of warmth. Okay. She usually always likes to call Gu Huiyan a stinky straight man, but occasionally the stinky straight man can be really heartwarming. Okay. Today is so sweet. Shang Zuoyan feels so sweet that it feels unreal. Sometimes she would also wonder that they didn't seem to have gone through much of a running-in period, so how could they act so naturally like a couple who had been in love for a long time when they were acting as boyfriend and girlfriend? Later she seemed to understand something. Probably because of understanding. No matter what happened to them along the way, at least they understood each other and understood each other. If it weren't for certain moral concepts that always bound them, maybe they should have been like this a long time ago. I wonder if God is feeling sorry for Shang Zuoyan. Around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, when Gu Huiyan and Shang Zuoyan were watching a movie, the rain stopped. Let's go, let's go. As soon as the rain stopped, Zhou Yan couldn't wait to put on her clothes and pulled Gu Huiyan to run out. She didn't want to miss the day today. After dragging Gu Huiyan downstairs, they took a taxi. Shang Zuoyan wanted to go see an internet celebrity spot where the light rail runs through the building, which is very famous here and has been popular on major social platforms. Litzaba went downstairs and took a taxi. When we got in the car, Shang Zuoyan chirped and asked, "Master, can you take us a shortcut?" The tone of her words at that time was somewhat suggestive. To put it bluntly, she wanted to experience the local routes hidden in the corridors. It would be too boring to follow the navigation system. Any navigation system will be invalid when it reaches Chongqing, right? The driver obviously listened to similar requests and readily agreed, reminding them to fasten their seat belts before driving on the road. I didn't follow the navigation guide. When I reached a tunnel, the driver drove into the tunnel. After going around in a circle, he came out and turned around and entered a parking lot. Gu Huiyan didn't do any strategy before coming here and didn't know why he entered the parking lot at that time. The driver walked to the very back of the parking lot and there was no way. "Master, are you sure there is still a way to go?" Gu Huiyan couldn't help but ask. As a result, the driver smiled contemptuously, drove the car in a twisting and turning circle in the small parking lot, and unexpectedly drove into in front of the elevator. It's the kind of elevator that allows cars to drive in. Walk. This really gave Gu Huiyan a knife and opened his eyes. He had indeed seen lift-type parking lots, but he had never seen an elevator for cars. Following the master's route, I didn't feel that it was that close, nor did I spend less money, but the experience was indeed overwhelming. Shang Zuoyan took photos and videos with her mobile phone on the way, and said she would send her hair back to Gu Huiyan. The driver took them to the observation deck where the light rail passed through the building. It is worth mentioning that there were many people here. Gu Huiyan and Shang Zuoyan did not dare to be too public and only dared to take pictures at the edge. The scenery here is really good. You feel like there is a mountain in front of you, and the track is built on the cliff of the mountain. The light rail runs along the track and goes all the way into the building. It is really rare to see this in the plains of the mainland. Landscape. At that time, Shang Zuoyan wanted to shoot something like that. When the light rail came, she stood on the track with her mouth open and could be captured in the photo. It was the kind of video where the light rail used to go into her mouth. But unfortunately, there were so many people here that she didn't dare to take off the mask at all, and even lowered the brim of her hat. There are only a few famous scenic spots in Chongqing City. The scenic spot where the light rail passes through the building is not like Hanja Cave. Hanja Cave is beautiful and interesting when it is lit up at night, so there are relatively fewer people during the day, and here it is during the day. Of course, people gather here to see the scenic spots. Not to mention taking off their masks to take pictures, but even walking normally in the crowd, they are all trembling. It's so scary. Shang Zuoyan didn't mind. Anyway, the filming that should be done had already been done. Gu Huiyan, on the other hand, felt that she was regretful for not being photographed, so he asked, "Would you like to go to other attractions? You can actually go to 1 or 2 scenic spots during this time." "Okay, okay." Shang Xuoyan nodded in agreement. It was a bit of a headache to find the attractions. The more distinctive one here is the Yangtze River Cableway, but it seems to be crowded with people and there is a long queue, so it is not too is necessary. Then it was said that there is an observation deck called Eye in the Cloud, but I heard that the photo check-in fee is per person and each person has 30 seconds. Please. Do you want her, Shang Xuoyan, to go to so-called internet celebrity spots to take 30-second photos like ordinary girls? What a joke. When she asked Charlene to shoot in a place like this, the place would usually be cleared so that she could take enough photos, okay. Besides, it's not like she's never been to that place before. In the end, they chose to take a taxi to the legendary Kuixing building, where you thought it was on the first floor but it was actually on the 22nd floor. When they got there, they found out that it was so close to the Jifangbei business district where they lived. It only took 10 minutes to walk on the navigation map. We really ran away lonely. The light rail going through the building is not smooth at all and it is crowded with people. It is worth mentioning that there are a lot of people near Kuixing Tower, but the place here is big, and you walk along the flat road and always think you are on the first floor. But when you walk to the guardrail and look down, you see the spectacular. When you are on the 20th floor, you will indeed be shocked. Shang Xuoyan took Gu Huiyan and took so many photos and videos that Gu Huiyan even doubted whether she had enough memory. After filming, they found an elevator and went down. There were relatively few people down there. This time they had no specific place to go. Instead, they held hands and walked aimlessly, experiencing the streets of Chongqing. That kind of pyrotechnics. To be honest, Gu Huiyan and Shang Xuoyan don't like to always go to some internet celebrity check-in spots, but the places that are famous and worth seeing in every city are actually those internet celebrity check-in spots, and those are the ones that can let you know. There is no way, this is what local cultural tourism operates. It has been raining in Chongqing and it is foggy. This is probably because the sky is gloomy and the rooms are dark. Therefore, many street shops have turned on their lights early, and the light signs have also been turned on. I can walk aimlessly on the streets. When you see something interesting and new, take pictures, look at it and buy it. That feeling is really pleasant. But because it had just rained, the temperature was a bit low. Shang Xuoyan's hands were always cold, so Gu Huiyan had no choice but to hold her hand and stuff it into his coat pocket. Night. Gradually it enveloped itself. After a gloomy day in Chongqing, it was finally dark. Gu Huiyan and Shang Xuoyan, who were a little tired from shopping, took a taxi on the roadside and took them across the river to find a hot pot restaurant downstairs from a resident. This store was recommended by a friend when Shang Xuoyan came to work before. She was familiar with it because she had eaten there before. She said the price was reasonable and the taste was authentic. In fact, if you ask the locals, whether you are a driver or a tour guide, they will probably tell you not to eat hot pot in the Jifangbei business district, because that is all to deceive you foreigners. Just like the food in university towns is designed to fool college students. The locals eat hot pot in the small restaurants where they grew up eating, and they know very well whether it is authentic or not. It was precisely because of this that Gu Huiyan and Shang Xuoyan worked tirelessly to come over at night. Why bother working so hard? Because there was a traffic jam when crossing the river. Gu Huiyan has heard about Chongqing's roadblocks for a long time, but if you compare it with Jingxi Road, he is still little column. During festivals on Jingxi Road, especially during the National Day and Mid-Autumn Festival, it is said that it takes 76 minutes to walk 3 kilometers. If you stop on the roadside and eat 2 bowls of noodles and 1 bowl of wontons, no one will be honking to urge you to get on the bus. Open circuit. The so-called top 10 most congested cities in the country are not kidding you. Although it was not as good as Jingxi Road, it still delayed Guhuiyan and Shangzuoyan for nearly half an hour. Fortunately, the hot pot was indeed good and it was worth it. Do you dare to eat it if it's super spicy? When ordering the pot base, you must choose the spiciness level. When the boss asked, Guhuiyan had not thought about it yet. Shangzuoyan came up and asked him if he dared to eat extra spicy food. Guhuiyan was dumbfounded and said, "Don't want to live with you." People in the Sichuan and Chongqing areas are very fond of spicy food. Guhuiyan is not a coward. He can definitely eat spicy food, but he also has self-awareness. If you eat extremely spicy food in the Sichuan and Chongqing area, aren't you looking for abuse? Just tell me if you dare. Shangzuoyan pouted and took off the white scarf around her neck, looking ready to try. In fact, she is really a little party cook who is good at cooking and fun-loving. She obviously can't eat much spicy food. She ordered some Sichuan food at noon and didn't dare to take off her chopsticks after a few bites. She even dared to eat spicy hot pot at night. It's really. I dare you if you dare, Guhuiyan replied. That's really spicy. Who knew that Shangzuoyan really ordered extra spicy? I also know that I can't eat spicy food. I also know that I am a bit pushy. But there is no way. She really wanted to leave some deep and interesting memories with Guhuiyan. Life is full of ups and downs, and Shangzuoyan just wants to recall that day in Chongqing when they had a spicy hot pot meal that made her stomach hurt and her mouth blistered. Remember the taste and you can remember the feeling at that time. Only when the taste is profound will the memories be profound. She must have been thinking so at the time. But when she tasted it, her intestines turned green. Hiss. Ha. So spicy. So spicy, so spicy. He said it was fine when he was served, but after taking a few bites of this little dish, he started shouting, "Why haven't the drinks been served yet?" Guhuiyan asked her for a few bottles of soy milk to relieve the spicy taste, and said if it didn't work, we would change the pot. Who knew that Shangzuoyan insisted that she was okay and asked Guhuiyan if you were scared. Guhuiyan said I would be afraid. Then continue. Neither of them was convinced by the other, so they started to show off again. Guhuiyan doesn't usually eat hot pot. Northerners actually don't eat hot pot very often except in winter, so Guhuiyan doesn't know much about the ingredients that can be cooked. Fortunately, Shangzuoyan understands and orders a lot of things, such as duck blood, loin slices, brain blossoms, fat intestines, pig's feet, claws, shrimp slippers, yellow throat, etc., etc. Sample. Crotch burning and hairy belly are also essential. It is the first thing to rinse. It is worth mentioning that the price of the store they found is really not expensive. Vegetables are only a few yuan per plate, meat dishes are usually more than 10 yuan per plate, and beef and the like are only 20 or 30 yuan. Although the plates used were not particularly big ones, they were all small dishes and the like, and the volume inside didn't seem to be particularly large, but at least there was no crushed ice underneath. Some hot pot restaurants look like they have a big plate with lots of fancy stuff. When the tripe is served to you, it seems to be a lot bigger. But when you pick up a piece of tripe and look at it, you realize that the good guy has piled a plate with crushed ice. You put a layer of hairy belly on top. Who is disgusting? Jiao. All in all, it's really affordable here. The ingredients are quite fresh, especially the duck blood and hairy tripe. Guhuiyan eats them very vigorously. Of course, his favorite is the kidney slices. The cooked kidney slices are dipped in the sesame sauce prepared on the plate. Not to mention how fragrant it is after one bite. Crotch burning, Shangzuoyan always complains that he can't eat it. Does your family eat Chongqing hot pot with sesame sauce? It is said that Southerners don't put sesame sauce in hot pot. They have that oil dish? Yes, just the inside stuff. Shang Zuoyan even mixed one for him and told him the formula specifically. Take half a spoonful of oyster sauce, a spoonful each of sesame seeds, chopped peanuts, chives, and coriander. Put a large spoonful on a dry plate, add spicy millet outside, and pour the sesame oil over it. Gu Huiyan took a sip and felt that it was not enough, so he returned to his own sesame sauce. Although Shang Zuoyan complained about being unauthentic, he ate with gusto. It is worth mentioning that it was the first time for Gu Huiyan, the brain geek, to eat it. Shang Zuoyan did not expect this. He also asked what it was, but when he heard that it was pig brain, he just threw it away. Have eaten. Hiss, try it, it's delicious. Shang Zuoyan's spicy sihashes was even allowed to be tasted by Gu Huiyan. Is this thing for human consumption? Gu Huiyan said, why don't you eat it and replenish your pig brain, we can't get rid of it. No, it's really delicious, trust me. Shang Zuoyan insisted on letting him eat it, but he refused to eat it. In the end, Shang Zuoyan was so angry that she wanted to say that you would be blind if you couldn't taste this delicious food. Gu Huiyan didn't eat it but was still curious. He also asked if the stuff had any effect and what supplements it would take. Shang Zuoyan definitely couldn't tell. This foodie only knows how delicious it is, so she searched it and muttered. It nourishes the brain and calms the mind, nourishes qi and blood, nourishes the kidneys and nourishes essence, Didn't you say you don't want to eat it? Shang Zuoyan was very surprised that Gu Huiyan, who had refused to eat and looked disgusted, actually stuffed the brain into his mouth when he heard tonifying kidneys and nourishing essence. Puk, cluck. Shang Zuoyan laughed like crazy. She couldn't help but raise her beautiful hand and patted Gu Huiyan a few times and said, are you men so real? She said no wonder this old lady was showing off her waist just now, that was the reason for the long-lasting fuss. To be honest, since writing this book, I have never thought about adding as much water as possible to a certain plot. They are so sweet that I don't even want Shang Zuoyan to leave.